especially on the attacking side. So I think we might start rough, but then ease into this best of 3 if they can survive this first map of Cafe.
Well, Cafe will be the battleground to kick things off. Will we need the 3 maps? Perhaps not, Bingu, as you identified before. It's Unreal Nightmare versus TAURI Esports. It's a battle at the bottom of Asia and a fight for survival. The winner will play later today. It's going to be a tough slog for both of these teams to run this lower bracket. But of course, the question remains, who will challenge for that second slot at the Salt Lake City Major here in the Asia region? Let's kick things off. Cafe, our first map in this fixture.
So TAURI starting defense. That does make things, of course, a little bit easier. You know, you can get a couple rounds on the board, get the mental going, and just get to show what you've been prepping for on paper. Again, I always think for especially the lesser experienced teams, even on like an attacker favorite map, starting defense can actually be quote-unquote advantageous, just because you get to settle into the game and not start off like problem solving and trying to figure things out on the fly and you're nervous and stuff like that. So this is going to be a defender-sided map, a strong good side for TAURI, and we got some pretty good operator bends to boot. Ying Capital is going to be all about the execute. It's going to make it harder to take space, you know, in piano, in cigar, going 3-2-1, let's go for executes. But Unreal Nightmare has done a really good job at actually reading into this. And how they read into it is they take away a lot of those operators that give you a strong foothold in the map. That's going to be your Mira. That's going to be your Aruni. Aruni often, I think, is a bit of an overrated operator, but I do think Cafe is one of the areas where she shines absolutely as an individual. You get a DMR defense, which is quite hard to come by. You get that ACOG scope, of course. And the Aruni gate is quite excellent on this map. There are so few ways into the building. Most of them are window repels. What's better than to pop an Aruni laser gate every 30 seconds or so that can just give you information? Because as long as that gate is up on cigar door or one of the piano windows, for example, you know they can't really go in. So it gives you a really good continuous kind of information when Elamine only gives you that singular pop.
Talking about the operators, Peggy, did you see all the announcements and the conversations about the buffs and nerfs and changes that came out yesterday?
I did briefly watch it on Twitter because there wasn't a patch note when I watched it, but just individual streamers tweeting things out.
Yes, that's right.
I'm pretty excited about it.
I saw Titanium Rollo's TikTok about it. I haven't seen any official videos about it, but yeah, it looks very exciting. Couple of nerfs and buffs coming through, but for now, we did see a spawn peak there out of the fireplace windows. Oh, sorry, the pillars windows down onto Shadow and Spawn, and goodbye Deimos. That's kind of one of your most important operators on this map, unfortunately, for Unreal Nightmare.
It's going to be Deimos and going to be the Grim that can work together at getting a lot of intel and some damage done. They're doing a cocktail repel strat here. Normally, you'd actually send Deimos downstairs in library. You would start grimming the guy on the floor and then get the red ping or the Deimos tracker and then vertically get a kill and grenade toss on in, and then you get an opening pick. But because they lost the Deimos and because they lost some of their frag grenades, now that people are limited, they could run as well. The nade gets one, but it's straight right back, so it's all good.
That is an ambitious run out as well. You have to get pretty far away from the building to get a deep enough angle to actually see people on that rappel. Big respect to the Soulless. He's going for another one.
Again!
He's incessant, this guy. Insatiable. Still has an impact in pocket as well if he wants to go for more later. I like the aggression. I like the mind games. Unreal Nightmare in the 3v4, completely pivoting as well, going for a piano take instead.
I like the rotate. When you lose those frag grenades, you can't really go in now because it's kind of cooked. And also, they got the kill that they wanted with the grenades, so they could just go elsewhere for the entry pathways. But the issue is, you still got those castle barricades, Aruni laser kits, etc. It's not going to be all that easy. And you're also working against a timer because Solus is below for plant denial. But it starts off well. K3 gets that injury kill in towards cocktail or bathroom. That's one more defender down. And now with Solus being downstairs, they really gotta watch out. The top 4 defenders cannot risk over swinging now and dying to these DMRs. They gotta kind of force them into a close quarter gunfight.
And the question for the Solus is how aggressive does she decide to get? She's all the way downstairs and the attackers are sneaking into the bomb site. This might be possible here for K3. Killer has no idea that he's being snuck up on right now. Big kill with the DMR for K3. Goes big for a double. It doesn't matter about the spawn peak if K3 can farm the rest of them. Now it's the Solus who has to do everything himself, but K3 has no idea what's going on. Wag has been picked up, but he's the last one standing as Big J goes down. Chat now has a massive chance to clutch up, and K3 has fallen. Wag has to try and deny the ace here, but Chat wants to find it. He needs to go deep. 1 HP, and he gets the ace for HL TAURI.
And he's everywhere. This is the same guy jumping out, running out, going for peak, stopping the push, and then going for that late round flank. It actually was a moment there where it was going to be ace for ace. K3 on the line had 4 kills, but was then injured. Then you had, of course, Shadowman also getting the ace in the end. What a start. I mean, it's about vertical play versus direct prowess. And obviously, it just boils down to Unreal Nightmare not having enough drones. They had 0 left, by the way, mind you. 0 drones left. Nobody's watching the flank. They physically couldn't. And when they're triple pushing top floor, because they had K3 injured on the Lion, they're thinking, oh, we're not sure whether to look for the flank behind us or look in front of us like this. We gotta go for the revive, so let's watch the white staircase, because that's the closest one. That's the most dangerous one. The issue is Solus flanked the red one, so they do end up getting caught off guard in the end.
Wow, that was a way to kick things off. Like you said, it was ace v ace.
It really was for a second. I was thinking, please don't have K3 be injured, right? He's gotta be up so they can go for it, but unfortunately not. It wasn't meant to be.
5 seconds.
But, I mean, to be fair, if you look at HL TAURI, they do end up kind of choking and bottling the advantageous position in the 4v3. One player swings early, then it's 3v3 with Solus downstairs, and then nobody's holding long bar, right? We always hear that, is it gonna be white stairs or long bar? But that's if you're an attacker. You're asking the question, which one do we attack? As a defender, you have to watch both long bar and wide stairs. And they were both watching the same angle. There was a gap.
Yeah, wow. 1v3 clutch as well, by the way.
Yeah.
My. That's a rough start there for Unreal Nightmare after every chance they had. It's a real tug of war between these teams. HL TAURI had the spawn peak. Unreal Nightmare brought it back to a 3v1, and then Chatterman aced up to clutch. Getting much harder to ace against a Montaigne though. Monty Glaz is quite a vicious combo here for Unreal Nightmare to bring to the table, especially as they look to try and clear Bakery. Killer is the one that stands in their way.
I like that they didn't fully overcommit to just Bakery take. What I mean by that is they had the ramp, so they can do a bit of verticality for during/after the roam clear prep. This means that once they get Bakery control, they can then go upstairs, do vert. Now they're attacking 2 different floors. Because they have the Monty, Killer just walks in and takes the space absolutely for free. HL TAURI doesn't want to contest and doesn't reinforce the wall either. So this means Unreal Nightmare, I mean, they have the perfect scenario. They got a Monty for plant, they got tons of smoke spare, they got a glass that can peek, a ramp verticality. Now we kind of need to see a big C4 kill or Sunstrike on the Warden trying to get a kill or some value out. Otherwise, I think the pressure is too much in the defense.
Oh, there you go. Killer just taking out the Glaz from on side of the breach itself. Good trade, but Glaz going down is pretty deadly here for Unreal Nightmare. Thankfully, they still have the Monty. Shaz needs to make sure not to overextend here. Cannot afford to go for an ADS. You have to get the teammate to come to support here. Like, don't take this fight. Oh my god, Chad from up above on the vert opens up an angle with the shotgun, and Tenno's also going to find one. A beautiful little tap with the TCSG. Shadow was meant to be the backstabber, taking control up above, but he never took down Chatterman. And so it was a very cut and dried affair once HL TAURI held the line, lashed out, and now Unreal Nightmare are looking a little bit silly.
I mean, they had the right tools. As I was saying, they can take Bakery, then walk upstairs, do the verticality, and then work the bomb set together from 2 different floors. But only one booty drone was used here by Shadow, and it was used from outside the building to this red hallway. They never took train control. I don't think they even droned it because they were so unaware about that verticality from the mute above. Tenno gets the final kill, and again, it's HL TAURI strategically playing a better round. And this is huge praise, because this was what they were unable to do in their opening debut against Elevate. They were not getting the attack started, and they were falling upon the defense immediately. This is HL TAURI striking first, spawn peeking, playing vertically, and Killer, who knows the thing in that 2-die spot, stuck in that corner. It's a matter of time before he dies, not a matter of when he's gonna die. He gets the perfect kill into Glass. It's again good risk assessment from the people who are in trouble to say, let's try and go 1-for-1, and the safer people, they can play safer, as they should.
2 rounds in a row now, Pengu, and maybe my prediction was very wrong. I said that Unreal Nightmare were looking, just based on previous results, obviously they had a better fight in their first match, and they also took down HL TAURI when these guys were in the Challenger Series, and that was not a close game. Well, to be fair, one map was close, it was a 7-5, map 2 was a 7-1. So perhaps it's a bit of a momentum game as well here, Pengu. I mean, look, HL TAURI, if they start strong on the first map, maybe they'll have what it takes to take a proper fight in a BO3, but, you know, if it's you give it everything, but you lose your first map, sometimes you can see teams kind of run out of steam on the second and third.
Obviously, for Cafe, generally speaking, and especially how Unreal Nightmare is playing the map, they are very much in a position where they want to play for executes, right? They're the 5v5, the step 1, 2, 3. It's a bit more predictable, which technically also means it's a lot more consistent for the attackers, because like you know what everybody's role is gonna be. But if you're HL TAURI, again, I'm gonna keep saying this, a lesser experienced team, this is not gonna be easy to do it. They struggle against elevated aggression server, but look at these rounds. All these seconds, that's even spawn, the window repels, and giving so much breathing room for HL TAURI to figure out, guys, full siege. So I think this is placing to their advantage, but I mean, again, they're 2-for-2 on nades here in the windows. That's phenomenal. And this time nobody died early to a run out or a spawn peak. So this is the first round kind of reiterated on a reading attack with a clear cocktail effortlessly.
Yeah, I quite like that. And Hoxlas is now in a very awkward spot between the white window and the cocktail window. He has about half a meter squared where he can realistically stay safely, and he looks to rotate downstairs. Thankfully, he times it well and then doesn't get caught by the white stairs window itself. But still, HL TAURI are a player down, and that C4, unfortunately for Sunstrike, completely missed.
Yeah, and I mean, normally you want to have pulse scanning for somebody else's C4 and you kind of communicate when to pop it, but there is only a singular one that's going to be your own. Strategically now, HL TAURI, they only have 2 ways to play the game. Either you swing before they execute, which I mean, I'm trying to skip, but the track stinger gets confirmed because he was injured anyway. Either you go for a swing and an aggressive play, or you wait for them to plant and then flank right hallway, brown stairs, and push to that verticality. But when you lose that first player, as long as Unreal Nightmare don't make a huge mistake somewhere by getting flanked or misdroning a corner, this should just be a lockout for them. They got a huge advantage and plenty of time.
Yeah, but guess who's upstairs on for a flank up the red stairs? I've seen Shadowmin flank up red stairs before. This time it's not going to be the same though, and Shadow looks to flank. He's going to have a big chance to flank Hoxlas here, and with the plant down, it is pretty much a done deal. Yeah. Sunstrike in a 1v5, and he doesn't even find a single kill. Nice. It's a flawless round as Unreal Nightmare finally get themselves on the scoreboard.
Yeah, very well played. Again, no mistakes, didn't get flanked, they droned everything, went for the correct plant position. Like, everything was just great. I am curious in the operator band section here very quickly because there are a couple of things to go for. Vertically speaking, we can take away stuff like the Valkyrie, the Pulse. We can look at Warden or Wamai for, of course, map control. For the opposition here, I also think a Clash Band could be good. That, and then for attackers, Lion, Deimos, question mark?
Lion.
Lion, oh, the Solace. Okay.
The Solace is an interesting one because that was the ace operator in the first round.
Yeah. I mean, it gives them so much more range vertically. Like, again, going for the runouts and jump outs, if you're going to play for execution these window repels, it is a great operator to remove. Especially if they were expecting, let's say, a Nomad ban, for example. If you ban the Nomad and you have the Solace, how on earth are we going to stop the aggression downstairs? You're just not going to do that. So the Lion ban, I think, makes perfect sense. It's what's causing a lot of issues at helping each other, the grenades finding their marks, and getting a ton of information. It does mean that Grim will be open for the remainder of Cafe on this side, which will be like a Lion, but you just choose exactly where that information goes, right? And that has been the problem. They played Lion and they played the Grim at the same time on the Repel rounds. those red pings are gonna keep going because mute doesn't stop the green beast anymore. And when you spoke about the operator nerfs and buffs that we heard of yesterday, Grim was actually one of the operators mentioned in that post, right? Or in that stream.
Yeah, I don't know the exact details, but from what I've heard, it's increasing the delay of the deployment of the gadget. So once you shoot it out, I mean, even right now, there's actually like a half a second or a second where you can actually shoot the gadget before it releases the bees, but it's such a short window that you're almost never going to realistically be able to do that. I think they're increasing that duration, which just adds a little bit more counterplay, which I think is a great nerf for Grim.
Yeah.
But another thing that comes to mind, Pengu, is the fact that banning out the Lion bans out a set of nades, and we saw how good the nades were on that top floor for Unreal Nightmare.
I think, again, it's an excellent ban.
Uh-oh.
Regarding, so this is a trick grenade. You can laugh all you want. This grenade, it gets missed every day. In every elo in Pro League, okay, this is one of those moments where it's a tough grenade, okay? Because the door obviously has a bit of a lip if you put on the inside of cigar box, and I think that's the big thing. Because the castle barricades on the door can be put on from piano into cigar or from cigar into cigar. And you see how there's a big lip and a gap on the double door? That's because they canceled the door from inside of cigar room. That means the grenade has to travel underneath the castle barricade, beneath that lip, and bouncing it off the corner isn't that easy. That's a great swing.
It is. And losing the sledge is a big kill, obviously, with Castle in play. But meanwhile, Shadow has snuck in on the Solid Snake and found a kill. And Chatterman going down, obviously, the top fragger. He's got as many kills as the rest of his team combined. That's a great player to take down early.
I mean, what do you do if you bend the line? If you want more frag grenades, you bring more frag grenades. Sledge, Deimos, and Solid Snake can also get one by each death of his teammates or, of course, the enemies. Ton of util, still got some green beasts as well. Plenty of ways to work this round. They're working that wide stairs window. This could be a huge moment. He jumps out again. Great decision making with a grenade. He stays alive.
Yeah, thankfully he gets out. That's a huge double kill from Tenno. However, it does cue Unreal Nightmare to try and launch into the site. Good kills. Shaz now has to go deep. No more flashes remaining on 11 bullets in the primary as Wag reloads. Both of them do together. Tenno trying to flank up the white stairs, but he's now the last one as they've picked off the player inside a cocktail. This has been so well pivoted from Unreal Nightmare. As Tenno found those two early kills, he now has to find two more to finish off the round, and the Nomad is just baiting him. Wag gets off the diffuser and finds a second round for Unreal Nightmare.
Again, I really want to praise TAURI here because they do things correctly. Yes, they lose the round, but they do so many important things correct. Again, when you're stuck on the white staircase, you know there's going to be a frag grenade, knowing that's a Deimos, for example. You jump out, and in your head, you're happy to take the 1-for-1. That means you jump out, you kill the Deimos, you die to a Claymore, or you die to his teammate, whatever. That's worth it because you're kind of disjointing the push, because they're going to push from piano side and then cut off the rotation on the window repel. By either taking off the window repel player or you get a kill on piano, you're weakening one of the areas, giving your teammates rather a much stronger chance of success. TAURI strategically have played so good here in Cafe, but have just fallen in the individual gunfights, right? We see both Killer and Sunstrike a little bit weak on the scoreboard, and that's not a problem necessarily, but it does mean where that gunfight happens, there's a good chance Unreal Nightmare can create a gap by getting a kill as they're just superior in the individual fighting. Whereas Chatterman, wherever he's going, I mean, he's owning. He's been winning so many gunfights, especially on the roam game. So strategically, they're sound individually, just need a little bit more firepower, and this could honestly have been like a 3-1-4-0 type of situation.
Yeah, but on the flip side of that, you know, Chatterman's starting to get targeted now. Of course, we saw the Solid Snake. We saw a Dokkaebi teased out there for a second, then picked off. We've seen the Deimos a few times. So as soon as Chatterman is trying to 1v1 or 1vx on the roam, and there's util coming into play, I mean, you can't expect him to achieve very much. And the other side of what you were saying in terms of Unreal Nightmare winning a lot of fights, they're playing together. As soon as they know that Tenno jumped out, they didn't waste any time. They just collapsed. And now, unfortunately for Chatterman, he's died earlier. I don't know exactly where he was. Last I saw, he was upstairs trying to set up utility. I can only assume... Oh, come on.
Oh, he jumped out?
Yeah, wow. That's... I mean, that's just becoming a bit predictable at the moment, I think, for TAURI.
And you're mute. Like, you don't have the same kind of reign of terror as you do with a solo. So you have like C4 in pocket, which is just wasted now. You have your jammers, which I mean, I assume he put them all down. Honestly, didn't check. But if you can re-rotate them mid-round based on what happens as well. For example, let's say you have a couple of gems in the roam, but they're not roam clearing you. Now you can pick them up here like a laundry and go back towards the bomb site and then put them down later to help your teammates avoid the Deimos tracker. That goes out the window. So now we're seeing Unreal Nightmare again strategically being controlled. They got Vertical Operator, Double Down, Buck, and the Ram. They're gonna tear apart the floor. They got Ibana. That hatch already open. They got half the round to play. They got a shield with more frag grenades in the Blackbeard, and then they have information from Deimos Tracker. They have every single checkbox marked and ready to go. All they have to do now, which is of course the most difficult one, is execute together correctly.
It's hard to do even with the Deimos tracker on that player inside a bakery. The nade, though, eventually lands on Tenno. Shaz will fall as well. Man, Unreal Nightmare have been terrifying with the grenades today. Sunstrike finds his first kill of the game with a Nitro Cell. It's him and Hoxless now. 2 versus 4. That's a big kill, though. But good trade from Shaz on the bomb site. The Blackbeard is so tough to deal with now for HLT. Good angle onto the Deimos.
He's just sticking it.
Yeah, he is sticking it. I respect that. The commitment to the bit. And now it's up to Sunstrike. A 1v3 with the track from the Deimos onto his position. And they're still contesting him on the vert. They know exactly where he is. And Big J will finally put the round to bed. 1 round left in the half for HLT to try and even the score.
I mean, when you're getting 2 or 3 frag grenades kill in these rounds, it is just so hard to play against. But it's a really good use of utility for Unreal Nightmare. Why simplify it and just force a gunfight that anybody can win or lose when you can toss 2 frag grenades at a sole player while you're taking the gunfight with 2 guns? Worst case scenario, you die to a bullet, he dies to a grenade. Best case scenario, the enemy just dies without anybody suffering a loss on your side of the coin. So beautiful stuff. And I mean, I love how committed they are to this bit. They've been playing Sledge for the grenades. Now they're playing Blackbeard for the grenades. And it started because Lion was played, then target banned. Lion has grenades. So they're just trying to figure out, okay, which nade operator do we bring? And obviously, Deimos has been a staple. Goes out saying, great gadget, great weapon. Has frag grenades or even hot breach canisters if we need be. So HLTAURI had a great start, but this has been thanks to Unreal Nightmare making some good adjustments. As you said so perfectly, they're countering Shadowman's aggression. He's been dying first quite often. They got more control of the roam game. They're not getting run out on. And the solid spin has honestly been huge because it's really stunted HLTAURI's win condition. The pulls have tried to be played. We've seen some Mai, but they're still down to nades despite the Mai being played. They haven't gotten a single C4 kill despite pulls being played. So they have really just had the aggression of Solus been like the main win con, and they haven't found a new one since.
Yeah, Pengo, I can't help but feel like in this current meta, you have to be good at lots of different things. And we're seeing that from Unreal Nightmare. Obviously, a lot of nade play, a lot of repel play in a lot of the early rounds. And then the Blackbeard is brought out. It's something very different. Obviously, he's got nades as well, but they're using him for what a Blackbeard is good at, which is shoving. Now they've got a Blitz, a different type of shield. So they're happy to bring a variety of different ingredients to the table, depending on what is best right now. Instead of just what's a generally good operator. Ooh. Wow. I can't believe Tenno actually got the kill mid-jump out before dying to the Claymore. Credit to him. And you could argue that's actually a worthwhile trade with the Grim going down.
Yeah. Active usage Grim versus passive and Jaeger ADSs. This is 100% worth it for HLTAURI. It does mean that the Blitz pushing power gets a little bit better because there's more individual people. There's less crossfires when you're down a member, of course. But then when you saw some really tricky Denari lasers here to support the pulse of Sunstrike, on Mining Window Jump In and the red hallway double door, you can push past that line into the Sunstrike pulse unless you clear them first. That gives you either a bit of a forewarning or you slow down that Blitz operator. Oh. Here's the laser. Wait, it didn't hit him. He cleared it, I guess.
They must have done, I think, yeah, he did it from red stairs somehow. Oh, Shaz goes down, though. You talked about crossfires before. That's one way to kill a Blitz. And finally, the Thorn Trap will be thrown in to finish off the downed operator. I don't know why that aggression from Sunstrike came through. A little bit ill-advised. It is allowing a trade here from Shadow. 2v3 is not impossible here for Unreal Nightmare.
Now, they gotta do a bit call as well, but they gotta go fishing. Ideally, they find one more defender and even the numbers to a 2-2. Then you can start working that bomb site. Right now, down a player, I don't think that's gonna happen. the thing is right now, I mean, you got Thorn downstairs in the quote-unquote basement, if you will. You got Chatterman solo top floor, but playing, of course, on the white staircase, could just fall back. But all it takes is you're not hearing your opponent, or simply not, refusing to fall back. Oh, good discipline. Falls back towards laundry. They understand as well. Guys, 30 seconds. Don't die. Stay up.
That nade almost scared me for a second. I thought that maybe the magnet was so close to the floor that K3 might die, but no. Second magnet, though, actually does... Yeah, it did go and destroy the Denari, or activate the Denari, but they're going to have to walk through before it reactivates, otherwise they're going to trigger it again. Chatterman tucked away in the corner. He gets spotted, but he finds a kill regardless, goes for the second one. Shadow's in an awkward spot. Out comes a secondary, and a slug or two is enough for HL TAURI to even up the half as we cap off the first and go to our halftime vibe check. Well, the classic is that we say you need 4 rounds of defense on Cafe. HL TAURI didn't quite get 4, but the fact that they won that last round of the half to even things up does give them just a glimmer of hope here against Unreal Nightmare on the first map.
I'm a little bit worried for HL TAURI because we said about how like starting defense on Cafe is like the perfect spot to be, but if you don't get, like you said, that 4-2-half, that perfect spot that you should aim for, is it enough to go the distance on this map or just simply take it in regulation? Because my worry is a bit more in the more chaotic maps, Chalet, Night Haven Labs, map 2 and map 3, I do think will favor Unreal Nightmare a little bit more, given that we already seen HL TAURI fare on those maps, or on Night Haven at least, and not have the best of times. Also, in terms of the jam, right? There's a keep it or delete it. I say keep that song, by the way. I like that.
Very chill, but like, you know, a bit of energy to it. I liked it.
It's a good, like, you know, first game of the day. I feel like that's pretty fitting. If that was like the last game, I was like, nah, we need more energy. We gotta keep go faster. It's a good start.
Did you see the one that went a little bit viral? There was one particular track that we had. I can't remember what region it was in. Did you see that one?
Was it the CAG one?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was right. It was just yesterday, actually, wasn't it? Yes,
yeah, it was
CAG versus D+. It's funny because obviously that's like number 1 versus number 2 in the entire region. And
huge game.
Very intense, huge game. And then we go to this like circus music. I don't know what to say about that clip. People went crazy.
I mean, honestly, like, and I mean this in like the most positive way possible. It was like the perfect sound for a CAG match because they have obviously historically they have done the most circus level rounds I've seen of all time in APL, right? And they were on a tear. And they were playing solid Siege, and then they just get the clown music again. I'm like, dude, it's almost like we're just like memeing CAG right now by playing the music of like their team, except that they're not the clowns. They're making D+ look like the clowns.
Did you ever see all of the CAG skins in game that are really like goofy, like really silly, really funny?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorites. Like some of my favorite skins in the game from the RevShare program. All of CAG's skins, because they just embrace the memeage.
Yeah, they have I think one of the more recent skins. I forget exactly what it is, but it's like a toy. Yeah. Almost like, let's say, like a dinosaur toy or whatever it is. They have obviously some good bright colors, and they stand out. Well, for a long time, we had the anime skins on a ton of different organizations. And CAG have embraced, again, bright colors, toy themes, and just saying we're a bit silly, we're a bit goofy.
It's very
maybe catering to the average guy
as well.
Yeah, Rainbow's Magic coded, that kind of vibe.
I like it.
See that.
I like it. So we're into a rehost now, as you guys can see. We're just going to have to get everyone back into the game. Won't take too long, I'm sure. I don't know if this favors either team here. I guess it gives Unreal Nightmare a little bit more time to talk about their setups. HL TAURI won't really have any extra information based on what happened and the technical pause, so I don't think they really get much of an advantage here.
No, not per se. The only advantage is obviously just the size, but again, you can literally go force on attack if you're really good at it. I'm really happy with the first half though, because I was a bit worried about HL TAURI's level from their Elevate match, just thinking I don't know if they're gonna get enough rounds to get experience, because that's a big problem, right? If you lose 7-0 or 7-1 every single game, you're not gonna have a lot of opportunities to learn from. Whereas if you go max overtime, you're doubling the round count, even if you're to lose 0-2 in the end. So the fact that they're actually going the distance, even half, having some good moments as individuals and as a team, is everything I wanted from this game so far. But it's the first map in the BO3, right? They gotta maintain that level and consistency. They can't just fall apart now on a side swap.
Yeah, now I'm looking back at the maps that we saw both these teams play in their first playday. For HL TAURI, it was Labs and Consulate. Unreal Nightmare, it was Chalet and Bank. Now, I didn't manage to catch in the feed, so do you know who picked Cafe and who picked Chalet? I can only assume Unreal Nightmare picked Cafe.
Yeah, Unreal Nightmare picked Cafe. That's why they also got the weaker starting side, and then HL TAURI would have picked Chalet, and then decided on Nighthaven. Yeah.
Interesting that HL TAURI picked Chalet. I guess they saw Unreal Nightmare lose it 7-3 to Orchid. So perhaps kind of they've identified some weaknesses. They've got some ideas of how they play. But the flip side of that is, I don't know, Unreal Nightmare have had a chance to play Chalet against a good team, go to the drawing board and fix up some problems.
And Chalet does play a bit more, I don't want to say like newer Gen Siege, but you know, a bit more split theory, split pushes, out of nowhere kind of takes. And I do think it's going to be a very different stylistic playstyle than Cafe is. So it could be hard to adjust to for HL TAURI.
Is the stats of the game so far. 4.4 kills. Is that per? I'm guessing that's per round.
I hope so. Otherwise, you know.
Yeah, right. And so all of this is kind of per round stats. Yeah, that makes sense. So like entry kills, for example, that's wait, no, how does that make sense? 40%.
Is it based off?
I'm confused.
Unless it's actually not sure either, to be completely honest.
Like stats are a crazy enigma, right? Like how do numbers work, dude? Do you understand maths?
I give up in school, so you know I'm not quite certain myself. I did a content piece at SI. There, Milos was like, "Come, Nick, we'll do a content shoot. We'll do a little video for social media." I'm like, "Great." Cameras go on, lights, they go, all right, this video is about math questions. And I just like, no, cut the video right now. I'm not doing this. And then Milos said, no, it's fine. We'll just not release it if it's bad. Bro, it was the worst content piece I've done in my life. I kept hitting him with the, I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. Also because I was taught math in Danish, but it's English math questions. And the terminology and whatnot is like vastly different, obviously. I had a hard time.
What kind of questions did he ask you?
We did some basic stuff like square root. We did I don't know, we did classic stuff, right? How do you calculate the surface area of a triangle? I don't know, like stuff like that. And then they did basic stuff like the x plus x, and I was like, oh, I can figure that one out, you know, mental math.
Yeah,
But generally speaking, it did not go over. I got 1 in 5, I think.
Look, that doesn't sound that basic to your credit. Square roots and algebra and trigonometry. I mean, that's like...
Yeah, so when
you're doing in your head on the spot, like that sounds hard.
I had to clarify what a square root was before answering the question, because again, in Danish, it's not called a square root, it's called something else, right?
What's it called?
So, I honestly couldn't tell you.
I love that your English is now better than your Danish.
For math, it's a tough one, yeah. I mean, again, school's a long time ago. I dropped out 10 years ago now. And math was not the class that I was the most excited for.
What was the class you were most excited for?
English, funny enough. Yeah. I mean, when you're really good at something, you typically enjoy it in school because like you're getting good grades. You obviously know how to navigate things. I was a bit ahead because I played video games. I started playing like World of Warcraft growing up, and I kind of learned English through that as a social experiment. Well, my classmates didn't, but then I didn't pay attention in class for math class, and they did. So then all of a sudden I couldn't do basic numbers. So yeah.
Right. So we can see that the bans are Mira, Clash, Ying, and Grim. Apparently. So we're going to redo the bans, but they're already locked in because we already played out the ban phase.
True.
But we just had to re-pick them again as we got back into the server. Ying and Grim. So, yeah, look, I don't mind that. Mira, Clash, don't mind that. What else what's in? Azami, Castle, Aruni.
Yeah.
A lot of big hitters here.
I like when a team, they bring an operator on the attack that is just like super strong, right? Like they play, like Unreal Nightmare played Grim like every round on their attack inside, basically. I think maybe except for one. And it went unbanned throughout the first and the second ban phase. And then they flip it, they instantly ban the Grim. You know, they're like, we know how strong this operator is. You might not have realized, but we don't want to play against it. We're gonna get rid of it. And it goes to show the difference in mindset. Of course, like what teams they want to play against and what they want to play with. We did see HL TAURI try and bring out the Mutant last couple of rounds, and I figure like if that could be a counter, not for the Grim per se, but for Deimos, for example. So it is a matter of in the first round feeling out what enemies do you think your enemy's gonna bring, target ban those. What are they actually bringing after ban phase? And then you can say, okay, guys are playing Monty every single round, bring the counters. They're playing Chemical every round, bring the counters, and that kind of adaptation from round to round basis.
5 seconds remaining.
Well, I like that. These holes in the floor. That's a classic one. You toss a C4 up from downstairs in mining and train, and you can actually kill them on the solid floor inside of shop. That's cool. Love seeing old tech brought back to life. That's the holes we're looking at right there. Yeah, you toss the C4.
The real tech here is you toss the C4 into the Aruni gate, and then the attacker lives and your C4 dies.
That's genius, man. Wow.
That would be tech. It could happen, you know. They gotta, if the attackers don't burn the Aruni, they cannot get C4.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, they shouldn't burn the gate.
Yeah, very true.
You can also, it works the same way. Like, you can also do it from the other angle, like the cigar hatch. You can go below and pillar, break the soft wall, and then go up through the cigar hatch, and then go deep in cigar desk. It's a very rare C4 to see nowadays, but back before the cafe rework, this C4 was a lot more common to do, and the pillar C4 as well, of course.
Yeah. Looks like it's Wag who's going to be playing down here. He does have a C4 in pocket. Good gun, actually, to hold this position, I feel, because he's got the penetration to go through the walls as well if he wants to try and make more holes. And he can always fall back and play a lot of the head angles on the bomb. And the other bomb site, of course, the bomb site is Fireplace and Reading.
Yeah.
Go back strat. And, oh, nice Vulcan fire. That's
boy. This is smart. I think Unreal Nightmare, they looked at HL TAURI's attacks last week and said these guys are extremely slow on the entry, and they struggle at simply just making progress and staying alive at the same time. So they're playing very passive. They're not even playing in Cigar. They're just playing the Goyo Fire, Aruni Gate, Barbed Wire, C4 downstairs, and they're holding it vertically. HL TAURI so far are more or less taking the bait. Yes, they have Sunstrike outside mining window. We can watch a little bit of that vert, but if they go into piano, these C4s, this information is going to be constant.
Oh, wow. K3. Oh, big double with the Reaper. Tosses out a Nitro for good measure, tries to make a clip out of it, but the third kill won't happen, except, well, he will, because he's going to swing another one with his Reaper, and now he's just going for everything. He's found 4 kills. All right, he's just one of those rounds, I guess. There's a pulse like a madman running around with his secondary automatic pistol and finding everyone except for Killer. Now let's see if this could maybe be a bit of redemption for Killer. No, not to be. Wow, that was a very strange, very, very strange start to the half.
I mean, who said the Reaper's a bad weapon? This guy's taking into the K3, my man, popping off. Very well done. I mean, it's just middle mining information. I mean, he had info on both the window player and the Grim, the player in the bottom right hallway. So it's full intel game. And then he just goes for more because he used his C4, he got his kills, he might as well go big or go home. Even if he dies, it's completely worth it. HL TAURI off the rip here, kind of showing similar weakness as it did last week on the attacking side. Struggling to get the entry, dying, not early because there was only a minute left when the first player went down, but dying in strange ways. They had Monty, who's obviously upstairs, they gridlock the red flank, but then they start trying to take downstairs control. And the funny thing is, in the end, Monty didn't go for piano. They never really needed to take downstairs control because it didn't actually go into that area of the map. Now, if that, of course, was the plan, that would explain why they did it, to have some foresight, which is good. But why not take the Monty downstairs first, maybe, if you think there's a rumor down there, shove those rumors away, and then send the Monty back upstairs. Obviously, they're a bit low on time. Maybe that's the case, but then you gotta speed up earlier on, right? Rush the building, get to the roof, pop the hatch, get in that building immediately. Now I gotta see TAURI make the correct adaptations and not lose the round the same way.
I think you're right about Unreal Nightmare having a pretty good read on how to play this by having a lot of time delay. The Goya was great there. I think that just you pair up a little bit of time delay with a little bit of aggression here and there, and you look for gaps in the attacking setup, poke here and there, and you'll find rounds like that.
I mean, they're already a bit pacier. They're quick on the roof. They got the hatches. Started droning down as well for intel. They got the Monty. This is a prime kind of cafe ranked attack. Breach the left-hand side here of the red wall. It's not seeable from Cigar and the new hatch area, and they should wide swing the door, which of course they're watching. Then you can send in Monty down the red hatch, as long as you drone below him for that vertical C4, and then start getting constant information on piano. This is often how you're going to do this as an attacker. It plays heavy off the window repels and heavy off the Monty operator. The only thing right now that I don't like is that they're double, triple droning everything, almost like they're expecting it to be a bait play. When right now we see that it's not a bait. There's no real trap being set up here. There's no Goyo canisters, no C4 downstairs hiding in the corner somewhere. What you see is what you get. So we gotta see Tenor now make good work of the clock and good work of the Monty.
He's done so. He's taken out all of the mute jammers. My question is, do they actually clear the castle barricade inside of piano, or do they leave it open to protect themselves a little bit?
It's a good question. It does make Cigar a bit of a kill box, right? They're getting tossed out some babes now, taking a bit of damage, force them to move away. Shaz finds Shadow. Now they're wide swing piano as well, challenging the windows and Cigar.
Yeah, wow, this is an aggressive play from Shaz. If he gets behind the Monty, that's big, but I don't think he'll have the chance to. Hoxlust will fall. Only a little bit of pressure from the windows here.
Yeah.
Killers and Sunstrike. The Asami is buying them a bit of time. The DMRs will make quick work of those keeper barriers, but look at this re-aggression here from Big J. Wants to try and stab the Monty in the back, but forced now back by the E1D of the Lion. The HL TAURI are really stalled out. Shaz is literally kissing Sunstrike, but doesn't see him and will fall, swinging around the corner. There must have been some kind of sound cover. That's a big play to lose. Now HL TAURI in the 3v3.
20 seconds though, can't go for a plant B to meet that skylight on the long bar. Tendo doesn't see him, I don't think, so he doesn't know. He gets the info.
Nice, that's one kill, but Shadow comes in to stab the Monty in the back. It's all up to Killer, and he will fall to Big J. Big play from the Big J. Unreal Nightmare looking very locked in at the top floor defense.
I mean, again, it's Hazel TAURI wanting to do the right thing, kind of doing the right thing, but then making one small mistake, which you cannot afford to at this level of play. They don't have enough window pressure. They had a singular person on window rappel, and it didn't even open up the mini window fully. There's just a small crack in it in the barricade. You gotta, first thing, pop all the windows, now they're open. If you wanna go for a rappel swing, you totally can. You wanna get one on mini and one on stage rappel. That means 2 people rappelling on piano windows, because they're the ones that are gonna take the fights against Isami in piano itself. It's not gonna be the people in Cigar that should take the fights, because they gotta worry about Skylight, Cigar, the red flank. It's too many winged things to be worried about in such a small space. Angel TAURI will call attack timeout. We see a Vaughn right now getting very involved. And I think it's going to be about the basics right now for the Mensos. We know what we should be doing. Let's do it, boys.
Yeah, wow, I quite like that. A lot of help from Vaughn, who, yeah, Vaughn has been previously in the Thai scene working with Fury for a very long time, you know, at events like the Copenhagen Major, the Atlanta Major, the Six Invitationals in the past. I've been, yeah, really impressed by the fact that he's now moved on to another team. I actually didn't know about this, so it's pretty cool to see. Vaughn has also gone by the name Mad Duck Ranger in the past. I believe it's the same person. Yeah, it is. Just double check that. That's really cool. I actually didn't know that Vaughn was working with HL TAURI.
It's good to have a bit of experience on the coaching side, but it also can be like a point of conflict in a way, or maybe a bit of stress. I mean, obviously we've seen this with Dark, for example, joining APAC North with BNK Felix, Fabian joining PC Talon. When your coach has so much knowledge at, like, let's say high level Siege, but you are a younger roster, you're not gonna play high level just yet. That's what the goal is, you know, long term. It can be like, guys, how do we mess it up, right? How do we not have a second guy piano rappel? We talked about this 1,000 times. We did it in scrims. We had it in debrief yesterday. Like, that's very often how these conversations can go. And it's a big difference of being a coach watching the players play without pressure of being in the server, just having full overview, right, without any emotional investment, versus being in the server, spawn peaks, C4s, getting run out on, call outs, 5 people yapping in your ear. A lot can get lost in the chaos of a round, even if you're a very high level team. We see this even in the primary regions of EU and A, for example, where despite speaking the same language, despite playing for years, some things get missed. So I want to see TAURI kind of sharpen up on what we call the fundamentals, the basics, because they just need to show us clean rounds. Win or lose, that's one thing, but they gotta show us they can get there.
Oh. What's the play here? HL TAURI, top floor control. And Shadows spotted by Sunstrike. Eventually he shoots off that drone. He's going to get... No, actually he's going to stop and wait for the E1D. The flashbang will force him back. But thankfully for him, that Thorn Trap will keep the attacker at bay for just long enough to give him a chance to fall back. And there's no one outside Garage. So he's safely back down onto the ground floor with the rest of his team.
So this is a small mini game that's kind of like a 50-50 for teams. Do you send the player outside Garrett's door or breach to catch the white stairs rotation? Well, they breached open the orbit with a secondary can opener, so they did apply a bit of pressure, but they didn't have a gun there. Now, they were gonna get double swung if there was a guy on that breach, because both the Goyo and Shadow and Thorn swung that angle together. And it's actually why we start seeing teams not actually have a person watching that fallback, because you are an exposed element. So if your goal is to get a 5v5 bomb site execute, you force back the roamer and you say, we're gonna let you live, but we're not gonna lose an attacker either. If your goal is to get kills, because you don't need to play for a 5v5 execute, you can then risk having a player bottom white staircase going for that kill, but you might just lose the player for free. So this is very conscious decisions by HL TAURI saying, we want to play for execute. This doesn't work the same way with Ace and Hibana and Thermite. You can't get the hatch with the can opener on the side, but they're trying to get the kite cloak, a little bit of soft destruction. And Nate is probably safer to do this with, and they're going to try that now on the quote-unquote wrong side, but it does work. Surprisingly enough, actually. And they can get the hatch. But James, there's 15 seconds left. They gotta go right now.
Yeah, Sunstrike's gonna have to go big, but he does find a big opening. Shadow will trade him on back. Unreal Nightmare looking to lock down on the bomb site with as much fire and smoke as they can. But Tenno goes deep with the SMG-12. He clears out VIP, looks for another one, but Wag will trade him back. Wag now has to go for a big flank as Chatterming is able to get that plan confirmed. Now it's a post plan, but a difficult one for HL TAURI, and yet they overcome. 15 seconds to play and still upstairs, but they drop into sight and they get the job done.
That is not an easy push to make happen. 18 seconds left when they started breaching the hatch. It was breach, turn around, bow alpha counter, fire, fire, smoke, smoke, drop down, goalkeeper call, push bottom white, push bottom red, go for the diffuser and create chaos in the server because so many things are happening at once. I mean, this is the first time we've seen HL TAURI in the entire stage or kickoff, right? Last week and this map so far, go for a chaotic, in-your-face 3-2-1 play, and they were forced to do it. That wasn't what they wanted to do, but they realized, guys, we have to because there's no more time. But they did it so well. Everybody worked together. It's the benefit of one, having a lion, because that gives you a countdown timer in the game, and the second is when you only have 18 seconds to go. You gotta go, but it can like fall back. So beautiful stuff, and a huge clutch of round for a team.
10 seconds to go.
Isn't there meant to be more bans?
Operator ban. Yeah, third operator ban. I was thinking what the in-game comment was, and I was thinking, no, we did the operator bans, but obviously there's a third happening.
Interesting. Oh, well, I guess we'll jump on that very quickly, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, that feels like one of the most important rounds of the game that we've played so far. For me, Pengu, I feel like often games will have, obviously we play a lot of rounds, you know, minimum of 7, maximum of 15 in a normal game before we go to infinite overtime. Yeah. But not each one of those rounds has an equal weight. Yes, on the scoreboard, every round matters the same, but sometimes a round feels like it has this extra influence because in that case, for HL TAURI, I mean, they on paper should have definitely lost that round. And I think the fact that they won it out of nowhere tells me that, yeah, there is just no way that they're not going to back themselves in any situation from here on out. Doesn't matter if it's 4v4, there's no time left, and there's still util in the bomb site to clear out. They're just going to back themselves in because they've done it once. Why can't they do it again?
Yeah, slow one again. HL TAURI again. We can see that if they can play slow but get to the 5v5 and then go for execute, they're actually capable of pulling off that kind of round play. But I want, again, this window repel. I want to see more window repels. That's where they fell short before. But with this pulse scanner, they have perfect information on where to jump out if they want to go for it, or when and how many people are on that repel. We know that Shaz jumps out, he has a very good chance of hip firing the gridlock to his left, and they know exactly where he is. There he goes.
Yeah, nice. It's actually interesting. He did get a chance to aim down sights for just a brief moment. That would have helped his hipfire accuracy quite a lot, just unscoping. Yeah. But the trade is fine. Like, I feel like Shaz is still happy to take that exchange. Oh, K3, this is a free kill for K3. It should be maybe more than one. Oh, no! What? Brother! How do you let that one slip by both players? I mean, he knows exactly what's just happened. He knows he's cooked it. He knows he's absolutely choked it. Oh, he's throwing the baby away with the bathwater now. HL TAURI, 4v3. This is their chance to tie the scoreline.
No more pull C4, but they got Goyo Fire and a single toxic baby pocket. As long as Smoke stays alive here, there's a serious potential for a round win still for Unreal Nightmare. Oh, that's the last Smoke, actually. Okay. So timer will be low before the push comes to shove. Goyo Fire on the door. 20 seconds left. They can stall things out absolutely here, but he dies before they can do it to the verticality.
Uh-oh.
That makes it harder.
HL TAURI, yeah, inching closer to the bomb site. They have that vertical pressure. Shadow has to go miraculously big, but he's got a Monty to worry about as well. Shadow's found 2 big kills, but a big spray through the wall from Killer with the Monty, and he is fired up after that. 5 rounds apiece as we reach break point.
HL TAURI in the late round with little time. I mean, maybe that's their element, dude. Maybe that's where they fire up the most. We never saw them survive this deep into the round up against Elevate due to Elevate's playstyle of being so aggressive early in the game. Unreal Nightmare, they've been a bit slower to the punch. They still strike first, right? They jump out, the aggression, but this right here, I mean, that could just be the moment where things fell apart. I think K3 forgot to reload after shooting towards the Monty and only took that fight with like 13 bullets in the magazine. It's a bit of an unfortunate circumstance. Had they had one less attacker for that eventual push, that is one less angle to worry about if you're that smoke or the Goyo by the bomb side.
So we can confirm the operator bans have actually been made, Pengu. They just haven't come up on the overlay. So the ban by Unreal Nightmare for the attackers is the Montaigne.
Makes sense.
Surprises. And the ban from HL TAURI to the defense is the Pulse.
Okay. I don't hate the Pulse, but I will say this, and I mean, the operatives being played already. Solus and Pulse kind of play the same role. Obviously, Pulse is like often C4 beneath, you know, vertical pressure into like killing, whereas the Solus gives you like flanking and knowing where people are droning from. But the kind of play they made in the previous round, you know, getting info on the person on the rappel, Solus can do the same thing if the droning like the Gridlock was. And you can also go for runouts now on Bakery Double Door, jump out windows, because, you know, there's no Claymore or Air Jab. So there certainly is a possibility of the Pulse being one-to-one replaced by the Solus, and then the ban doesn't do a lot. But they shield the safer from the vertical C4, so that's good.
Yeah. The guy that jumped out last round was the Zenari. Did he have info from the Pulse? I thought it was just a sound cue.
No, so Pulse was below in mining, scanning, and it's kind of unlucky because he died to Nomad, and Nomad literally went on the rappel the same second he jumped out. So they didn't know about the Nomad covering the angle.
At least he got his kill.
Yeah, maybe at least I would say that's worth it. Again, Denari put down all these traps, the lasers, and then jumps out, gets a 1-for-1. That's good. And if Valkyrie doesn't miss the gunfight in Cigar, you're playing 4v3 with a Monty alive who can't necessarily do a lot against you. So small
Monty
things
could have easily fallen to the Valkyrie as well. Now, speaking of Monty, while the Pulse has been replaced by the Solus, the Monty has been replaced by the Blackbeard. We saw how good Unreal Nightmare were on their attacking half with that BB. Let's see if Tenno can be just as good. The nades are certainly a big help as well for the Blackbeard.
The difficulty is that Monty is not an as easily replaceable operator by other shields. Mostly here in Cafe because you're not as safe. You can't extend your shield and walk around. You're very prone to a vertical C4, prone to impact grenades. Tenno has to be a bit more cautious now and really use his teammates on the window repels and guns behind him. So if anybody swings him and tries to go for a fight, he has backup. He can't just walk in super deep like he was with Monty without any support. Then he will die most likely. We're seeing them getting very active here from Unreal Nightmare. They got a C4 below, it walks into Piano. They got two people playing together around Cigar and Piano, Pixel as well. They want to deny them the map space with that Monty ban, knowing that they can't just walk in for free. C4 went out from below, and it finds nothing. Tenno juiced it perfectly.
Nice idea, though. How do they get past the Azami's keeper barriers, though? There's a crossfire to worry about. Hello, Azami. Tenno he has no nades as well to use. The impact does a lot of damage. He's now quite low. Oh, that's so unfortunate. The nade from Sunstrike into washrooms. Blackbeard walks straight into it. And now at 2v5. Yeah, good luck, Sunstrike and Hox last. Now Hox is the last one left in a 1v5. He will go down, and it is a flawless round for Unreal Nightmare as they finally clinch match point.
I mean, the Monty ban is it's instrumental, and I think we saw it to great effect there. Tenno, the moment you walk into Piano, you get shot from the freezer wall being opened up, Piano Pixel, the C4 was thrown, the impacts, and while he did die to a teammate grenade in the end, there were like 1 or 2 more impact grenades waiting for him a second later. There were 2 people ready to swing him. He probably dies regardless. While it does look silly to die to a teammate grenade, I don't think Tenno would have lived the second he walks into bathroom, obviously. And that's the thing, like you said this yourself in the beginning of this map. It's a lot about flexibility and how many different operators you're able to bring. Let's say you're a phenomenal Monty team, but you're not good with Blackbeard, Blitz, etc. That means the Monty ban has a much greater effect on you as an individual and as a team because you don't have that other shield up. But if you're Spirits, or if you're Hungry, right, North American European player, doesn't matter what shield you ban, they'll play the 3 other ones at the same exact skill level, and the team can play around it all the same. So it really goes to question with HL TAURI, are they one of those teams right now that crutch the Monty because it gives them the thing they're lacking, taking map control, map space without losing bodies? Because now they haven't opted for a shield. Tenno's on Dokkaebi, and Tenno did the same thing as Elevate, where he plays Dokkaebi as like a roam clear kind of lurk entry, but it didn't work at all. It has been Tenno and shields that's been the most successful for the roster. Now he's off of it. So I'm curious what result this is gonna net, because a Dana match 0.56, this will be the round that they need to win.
And this game would be over if HL TAURI hadn't won that impossible execute the last time they attacked this bomb site. Of course, it was, what, 15 seconds when they decided to finally drop the hatch and go for an execute. And it was very close. Unreal Nightmare were favored to win that round. Game would be over if HL TAURI hadn't pulled that rabbit out of the hat. They have to now do it again for a chance at overtime.
They're gonna make their entry. Yeah, it's, this new change of being able to like start the rappel animation in a closed window opens up so many cool things. The sledge heartbeats, the ram heartbeats, shooting up the window with a DMR or any weapon that has a good amount of bullets. Don't see it used all that often, but it practically has no real sound cue because you don't hear the rappel animation, so the window glass shatters. So it's quite neat. I quite like it.
Tenno's on the roam clear. He's about to get a Dokkaebi call in just a few seconds. And then
you
he
wanna
might be
save
able
it,
to
though.
use it.
Yeah, I mean, you do but you don't, right? I mean, if you're on a Nightmare, you're baiting the second call before falling back. He is gonna go for it. Then you can just fall back for free now. Or either you sacrifice Shadow or you try and help him, but I think he's just gonna be trading 1-for-1 or trying to at least. He answered pretty quickly, so they might not know he's here actually.
Sunstrike
The
just
drone
went
also missed
right
him.
past him with the drone.
Uh-oh.
I don't
I
know
don't
if that
think
drone
he checked
saw
the
it.
corner. I don't
Tenno's
think he did.
worried about it.
They know there's
He's-
someone here, but the hatch is reinforced, right? If the hatch is reinforced, they should know that he's still somewhere.
Spotted
Oh,
him.
there's the drone again.
Bit of damage on the Tenno. Oh, good wall bang though from Chadamin. That is very prompt from HL TAURI to finally deal with this Roma. Next step is opening up this hatch, and first that means clearing the Kaid Claw, which took them a little bit of time. Last time around they needed the nade, but the EMP comes through this time, does make things a lot faster. Much better.
Like
now 40 seconds left to play. This is quicker than the last time HL TAURI attacked this bomb site.
Okay, they get a deep clock angle here from the top red wall getting opened up. That can see down to the verticality. That's great. Hatch open. The only thing they're missing for this to be quote-unquote perfect is that Dokkaebi call. They spent both for the roam clear, but that's how they got the kill and that's how they got into this position in the first place. It's better to use the util and get to the late round than not get there at all. Tenno will hit the backstab while they go for hatch drop. Gonna be chaos on the server. 3, 2, 1. It's time to go, boys.
Out comes the DMR from Tenno. He needs to have a big impact, but Wag takes him down. It's time for Wag to spring into action now on the Kaid, holding on to Whiskey Bar, but the plan is starting to go down with less than a second on the clock. Chadamin keeps on forcing it down, but Killers is watching. He's found a double. Hoxlas as well. Shaz is the last one standing, but HLT will push us deep and into overtime.
The Kings of Kitchen attack with no time left on the clock. This time things weren't perfect. They lose the opening duel. Tenno, backstabber first to fall, but they kill the smoke on the bomb site shortly after, meaning no plant denial. So the plant is safe to go down on 0 seconds. They had the flank watch. They had the verticality. They caught the player sprinting on the bomb site, trying to go for that final kill. I mean, it's excellent. Spending double Dokkaebi, double droning, like, the big thing for me is they droned dining, they saw the hatch was reinforced and electrified, and they went, guys, wasn't there a roamer earlier? They go, yes, there was. Well, he couldn't have fallen back. We see brown, red, and white stairs, and the hatch is reinforced. There is no way for him to not, to not be here. He has to be here. So they double drone library. Sunstrike originally missed him with the drone, but they went, double check it. He has to be somewhere. That literally can win you or lose you the round.
Yeah, very much so. I think Chadamin has picked Solus illegally here, so we're probably going to have to restart this round.
I mean, you could just play without the gadget. I'm just saying it. You could play without the gadget.
10 seconds left.
It does defeat the purpose of Solace, and you just rook with a P90 that's faster, but yeah.
Thankfully, we are obviously not the people who make that call, so we'll get that sorted out, and we'll let you guys know what happens. But of course, as a reminder, the operator bans are who's on the attack? Solus, Aruni, Mira, and then on the attack, it's Ying, Capital, Lion.
Yes, that is correct. Was that from memory, or did you have it written down?
I have it written down. It's in our group chat. Our admin posted it.
I know, but I personally, I like chaos. I try and play off the mind game or the memory game first, and I'll be like, wait, that doesn't sound right. Let me check. But I say you are correct as well for my memory check.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to remember because obviously we're into overtime, which means we've gone a long time since we were having Unreal Nightmare on the attack and HLT on the defense. So, for example, Grim, I thought for a second that Grim was banned, but that was actually banned on the opposite side. That was banned when HLT were on the attack, alongside the Ying and the Monty. But no. So in terms of this upcoming next round, it's Ying, Capital, Lion banned for Unreal Nightmare, or like from Unreal Nightmare. They're not allowed to play those operators. Mira, Aruni, Solus banned for HLT's defense.
Yeah. That checks out. Now,
all right, we got a second. I want to talk about the announced changes. So thoughts? Okay. We got what? Grim change, right?
Okay, Grim change is W because this is the Grim nerf, and he desperately needs a nerf. I don't know how long the deployment delay is, but it could be more like a Ying or a Sense where you can shoot the gadget for a good amount of time before opening. If that's the case, you gotta use the Grim Beast a bit more safe, around the corners and such. You can't just shoot them deep into the bomb side, so that's a W change.
What else we got? What are the other changes?
Aura gates is now like a further distance, and they're a bit quicker to deploy for your teammates, but much slower for the defenders.
Like when you click the target, the button.
Yes.
To open and close the gate. I feel like that is not going to make a huge difference. A lot of people are getting pretty hyped about Rayora. I love Rayora. I feel like she's still going to be pretty niche and only on specific bomb sites until you make a more general change, like, for example, allowing you to use them on Windows, perhaps. I think that would completely change the game for Rayora, just because at the moment, similar to Castle, there's only so many places you can put those gadgets. It's funny, the other day I was playing Bank Defense, and I wanted to go and put an Aruni gate on the basement door into elevator, because I was like, well, what if they push elevator? I want them to be slowed down. And then I realized that's not actually a normal door frame. So you can't even put an Aruni gate on it. You can't put a castle barricade on it. And, there are a lot of other places around, for example, Border, where they changed in the Border rework.
Long hall.
They made, in the long hallway, they made a lot more areas barricadable and therefore Aruni gateable and castle barricadable and also Rayora-able. But yeah, I think that if Rayora was able to use her gadget in more places, that would perhaps see her get a little bit more play. But yeah, I don't know if that'll make a huge difference.
We have Smoke Shield returning, supposedly, which is a bit controversial because it took too long time to remove that shield. But in the current state of Smoke, I don't think it's bad that he gets it back again. But that's happening. Jack above, getting grenades, and he can scan footprints vertically from above. Frost buff, if you get hit by a frost mat, you're now, for 70 seconds, you cannot sprint. It was 60, so 10 seconds longer.
I hate that.
Here comes the big controversy, okay? Clash buff. You can shock people for 5 seconds longer, so 5 second longer battery. What happened here? How did we get to this point? How is Clash getting buffed?
Have you ever seen the Wind Delta graphics in the recent seasons?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's for ranked. I think it's ranked platinum and above. So it's it's not professional level, but like, let's be real. In a typical ranked game, Clash is not very powerful unless if teams are good at using it and playing around it. It's not like you just have one good Clash player and then it's over. You have to have a good Clash player and people to play around it. But of course, they're balancing for the majority
around
of
people who can play the game, you're gonna have some very broken operators when people can play the game. That's like the general consensus, right? Obviously, the perfect picture in my mind is you balance for competitive play, generally speaking. If you look at games like Dota and League of Legends, that's what they do, for example. But you create content for the casual player base. I'm not saying that you should make every operator you know, this or that way catering fully to competitive play, but Clash is not a fun operator in solo queue ranked or casual. It's extremely oppressing to play against, whether she wins the round or loses the round a lot, because you can't play the game against her. That's kind of the issue, right?
Yeah.
By buffing her, you're trying to increase her presence and increase her win rate when she's present. And when an already unfun operator is in the game and they get stronger, it gets even more unfun in my mind at least. But yeah.
I think that's a very fair point. And there's always a conversation, especially back in the day. Like these days, especially with attacker repick and with a lot better balancing than we had in the past. And I hope you'd agree, but I'm interested to hear your take.
Definitely.
We used to have a lot fewer operators played. Like back in the day, there was like quite a long list of operators that were just blanket useless, never pick. Grim, for example, you know, Thunderbird, Tachanka. Now there's a very small list of operators that never get played. It's like your Thunderbird or whatever. And people often said, well, you know, does every operator have to get picked equally?
Yeah.
Is it okay to have some operators which only get picked like 5% of the time? And I think Clash is the perfect example of that. You don't want a Clash just as often as you want a Jaeger or a Mira or a Rooney or a Two-Brow or Kaid. No, it's fine that she gets picked less than everyone else because she's so different. And if she was played so much, the game would be very different, and a lot of people would find it very frustrating to play against. I like Clash as an operator. I'm glad she exists, but I just don't want to have her in the game every round, you know?
I agree. I think, you know, back when we had like meme operators like Tachanka before they reworked them to be competitively viable, I think it's time to have meme operators. Django right now in his current state, he's a bit of a meme operator because he's useless, right? And now they're buffing him with grenades and stuff to try and kind of justify that and then make him more pickable, which I think is fine. But I think it's okay that we have literally just weak operators and then literally strong operators and then a bunch of operators in the middle that you can pick occasionally for this map, for this playstyle, for this bomb site. So I do agree. Like I think the current balancing pace, tempo, and the job they're doing is actually quite good. I'm just questioning that one on Clash. That's literally it.
Yeah, I personally think, look, I don't think it'll make much difference. It's a very minute ban.
No.
People aren't going to be like, oh yeah, I can tase for
Now
5 seconds
strong.
longer. Now I'm going to pick her, and I wasn't going to pick her before. Like, that's not going to make much difference.
No.
The premise of it,
for
sure. The premise of it, I absolutely agree with. I just, flip side of the conversation, about talking about underpowered and less picked operators, I don't think we should have any operator which is just a default pick every round. I think we shouldn't have any operator that you should see every round. And, you know, in the past, it was like Ash or Ace. These
so you
days,
hated back in the day when the Thermite was played every round. You hated having a heart breach on your team then.
That was different. The game was the game was so different then. Okay. We only had one hard breacher.
Yeah. Well, in this round, we only have one heart breach as well, but it's not going to be your Thermite. It's going to be your Hibana, the second heart breach to be released in the game, of course. It went Thermite, Hibana, Maverick, then Ace.
My red
for those that didn't play back in the day. And if you were a Thermite player back when Hibana launched or released, you'd have been overjoyed because you're not the sole one to be blamed if you died and you had, oh, where's the heart breacher? We can't play the game now. No, you had a second heart breacher. So you go, why didn't you play Hibana, huh? We double down. Sunstrike doubles down, gets the opening kill onto Shaz, removes the Grim. It's a huge pick here in overtime. Mind you, Halo TAURI has been mounting this comeback, starting off strong in the first round of OT, taking down the most important operator, arguably. I mean, it couldn't go much better.
Especially because HL TAURI really struggled on their defensive side. Took everything they had to just barely find 3 rounds in that first half. If you cast your mind back. Very different story now as Tenno has found a second kill for his team. Unreal Nightmare, they finally get one back. It's the Wamai. Oh, big kill though, and a big J. Man, this Uzi really packs a punch. So much damage, a couple of body shots, and the sledge is finished off. Wag needs to try and find something. Oh, he gets C4'd out of existence. And, well, Shadow is also going to immediately fall as well. So, very convincing defense to kick off overtime for HL TAURI. Not only have they pushed us the distance, but now they have their very own match point.
And a little bit uncharacteristic there from Unreal Nightmare. I mean, they were just a bit disjointed. They weren't really watching the angles and the window repels. They didn't really drone cigar for information. It's not like them to die early because the way they've been attacking the entirety of regulation is 5 people going together in one area and really playing for late round execute. It's been a HL TAURI more than anything else that might have an early death here and there that looks a bit confusing. So this could also be a question mark of longevity in the map. You know, how many rounds can you play at your highest level? How many rounds can you play a different strategy? How many different counters do you have? But every time we've had this discussion throughout this map so far, we're always questioning HL TAURI side being the lesser experienced team, having the worst results in week 1. But they have generally had the majority of their rounds be theirs. They've had very close rounds. They've had big clutches. They've had the whole comeback, of course, situation happening. They've been a very good team today here in Cafe. And Unreal Nightmare, they're now in a position where they might lose their first map of Cafe, which would be crazy, given the starting side, given the results, given what we expected to happen.
Now, as we can see from the overlay, this is HL TAURI's map pick. So, in theory, not over. If Unreal Nightmare loses here, they can come back from Cafe, push us to Nighthaven. But I think it would be a big statement for HL TAURI, considering they were down, what, 5-3? They were down 6-5. And their first half was very rough on the defensive side. Now, they just need one attack round, and it's over.
They have an awkward impact grenade because he can't vault out and shoot the air jab. So if he wants to go for that play later, Shadow has to impact a running or crouch rotation to then shoot the air jab to then go for run out. So just want to keep in mind, if you an air jab go off, that might be the reason why. But I like the fact that he's setting up the play early, trying to disrupt that air jab, because if he actually destroyed it, there would be a lot more pressure being felt by HL TAURI, fearing that run out later on. So if they check with a drone that there is in fact still an air jab there, they can kind of take in the back of their mind. For now, they're clearing their runic gates, setting up that window play. And they have a fire, they have 4 now, 3 frag grenades, flourish drones. They can very likely either get a pick here with utility or get enough map control to make an entry point. And they need that, because without the Monty, they're reliant on other tools. The drone actually gets the barricade, so that's perfect.
Yeah, didn't expect that. I don't know how Blackbeard got injured here.
There's nobody near. Oh, there is a Solace and Bar first floor, so maybe it was just
He didn't fall off the roof, did he?
No, you can't. I mean, there's a lip on the roof, no? Or can you
Unless
walk
you
off
can
at the
fold
hatch
up
area?
onto it, maybe?
I don't know. I actually thought they patched it, because you used to be able to jump up on the corners and look straight down and watch the runouts, but that was patched with the Siege X launch, as far as I know. But I frankly don't know. Or either that or Shadow injured him, but I don't know.
Well, either way, he gets picked back up and he's into the action again. But a low HP Blackbeard is nowhere near as threatening as one with full HP. One shot in the toes and he's a goner. Good ground taken though, as HL TAURI start to put some pressure onto Piano. One impact from Shaz and that Blackbeard is dead.
Yeah. Oh well, C4 can also take down Sunstrike, so this attack is being limited, and another kill as well. 10 low on health, Thoros low on health. This is falling apart, James, very quickly.
Yeah, and Blackbeard is goodbye, Beard. Big J holds down the long line of sight with a DMR, and a second one as well. We're going the distance. It is a 15th round needed on Cafe to settle it, as Unreal Nightmare cruise into the last round with a very comfortable defense.
I don't want this to become a who gets defense side in OT twice kind of map, right? Because that happens sometimes in defender-sided maps. And I think the reason why it happens more on maps that are defender favored is because you feel like you're running out of attacks on the attacking side. We've all played ranked where we get the same map 3 times in a row, right? You get like border, border, border. And first time you play it with your friends, you do like an archives rush or an armory attack. And then in the second game, maybe you do the exact same thing. By the third game, you feel like you've already done it, so you don't want to show it off again, despite the fact that in ranked, your enemies are a different opponent entirely. Well, in a Pro League setting, it's the exact same enemy, which means you feel more than ever, guys, we gotta get a new attack for this one, because we've already shown our 2 strong ones. Sometimes you don't have a good third. Sometimes you gotta get creative in the server, you know, in the moment. Or sometimes you gotta go for a Hail Mary play. So I just want to see Unreal Nightmare actually have a bit of an execute and show us a strategy, because last 2 attack rounds in both teams has just been get in the building, die, and then round over.
Well, now for our final round, all it comes down to is this one defense from HL TAURI. Now, they had their full choice. Where do they want to go to? Except for Bar Cocktail on the top floor. They decided to go down to Kitchen. Now, this is actually the most convincing defensive round that HL TAURI won it was down in the kitchen. It was all the way back in the second round of this game. But Unreal Nightmare then went on to win it later on in that half. So don't count out Unreal Nightmare. A lot of it to me comes down to Chatterman and what he's able to do on that mute. The first time around, he was very successful on that top floor roam. The second time, he was hunted down early.
Could be a case of live by the roam, die by the roam. Again, the only way back to the side, besides the hatch, of course, going to be a staircase. And they could be watched from outside the building, all three of them. So you're playing a fine line if you're Shadow Mint. But I like the mute here. Putting jammers in the doors can kind of help isolate the drones, rather. Have a rotate on laundry. He has a lot of mobility. Escapes the first gunfight, kills the drones, and they know Garage is actually pretty damn free, so they fall back. It is a bit early, technically speaking. There's still 2 full minutes, but rather fall back at the 2-minute mark than stay till 1:30 with no chance of falling back. It's gonna become that 5v5 late round.
My question's, where's Unreal Nightmare going to push? They don't have any kind of a shield operator brought to the table. That they have found Tenno at the bottom of red stairs. That's a big pick from K3. Yeah, wow, that's unfortunate for Tenno to lose his life so early on.
Yeah.
Vertical game is solo from Big J. We need horizontal pressure in tandem.
Yeah, the issue is because you lose that player, you actually lose a crossfire. If you have a player in the code check room, which you have right now from the Thorn, and you have a player bottom red, now you can help each other. You have a crossfire. Now you have a gap in your defense.
Oh, hello. Oh, no.
Oh,
somehow the Thorn Trap saves Killer there, and Chatterman is able to finish off that player. The nade does go too wide as well. The Logic Bomb rings out, but Unreal Nightmare have not managed to confirm this kill. Low HP on both Hoxlast and Killer, and yet there are no nades left from Shadows to try and finish off this kill. Shadow has to have a big impact. He knows exactly where this player is on the ground. Gets partially flashed, but from behind, HL TAURI hold down the line, and defense will overcome here on Cafe. It's map 1 in the books for HL TAURI as we go up next to Chalet to see if Unreal Nightmare can fight back.
ชื่อในเกมชื่อไลโคเลสครับเล่นให้ฟิวรี่มาจากประเทศไทยครับก็ตั้งแต่จำความได้เลยครับว่านั่งบนตักคุณพ่อดูคุณพ่อเล่นเกมเราก็น่าจะเป็นแบบซึมซับตามไปนะครับผมก็เกมที่จำได้ว่าคุณพ่อเล่นก็น่าจะมีมิวออนไลน์กับแร็กนาร็อกอะไรพวกนี้ครับผมหลังจากนั้นก็เราก็เหมือนแบบเล่นตามครับผมเริ่มเล่นเกมน่าจะที่จำความได้ประมาณอนุบาล2ครับเกมที่จำได้เลยก็คือเลดอเลิร์ท2เป็นน่าจะเป็นเกมแรกเลยที่เข้าสู่การเล่นเกมเล่นครับในช่วงแรกๆเล่นเกมกับพ่อกับพี่อยู่แต่ว่าต้องบอกว่าผมโชคร้ายหรือยังไงก็ไม่รู้เหมือนกันนะครับผมว่าเพราะว่าเพื่อนที่โรงเรียนไม่มีใครเล่นคอมสักคนเลยครับเพราะงั้นในช่วงวัยประมาณตอนช่วงประมาณตั้งแต่ประถมป.3 ป.4 ป.5 ผมยันม.ปลายนะผมเล่นกับเพื่อนออนไลน์หมดเลยครับก็ต้องบอกตรงๆว่าเป็นเด็กติดเกมของแท้เลยครับแบบว่าการเรียนโยนลงถังขยะไปเลยครับผมก็คือตอนช่วงป.5 ป.6 นี่แบบว่าหนักครับผมเรียนได้ประมาณ2แค่แบบผ่านเลยครับผมหลังจากนั้นก็ เริ่มโดนจี้แล้วเพราะว่าเอาจริงคือแบบว่าอยู่บ้านเล่นเกมอย่างเดียวทั้งวี่ทั้งวันจะส่งไปเรียนโรงเรียนประจำซึ่งตอนนั้นเราก็ตรงๆว่าไม่อยากไปครับผมแต่ว่าก็บรมครับผมก็เลยบอกว่าถ้าต้องไปจริงๆอ่ะผมแบบไม่ไปอยู่ประจำนะบอกว่ายังไงก็ต้องขอแบบกลับบ้านอ่ะคุณแม่ก็เลยยอมถอยให้ครับผมก็คือไปเรียนที่ศรีราชาแหละแล้วก็ถ้าพูดตรงๆก็มันก็ค่อยๆเริ่มดีขึ้นนะครับผมก็เริ่มการเรียนเริ่มพอได้บ้างแล้วก็ยังเล่นเกมเหมือนเดิมต่อไปเลยครับแต่ว่าการเรียนดีขึ้น
region has got to offer.
Well, if you told me at the start of the first half it was going to go all 15 and then out of nowhere HL TAURI would rise above, I probably wouldn't have believed you, Pengu, but man, this was a very back and forth fight and impossible to call until, what, the first, final 10, 15 seconds of the final round.
This was a much better map than I had hoped for, and HL TAURI slow start to last week, getting crushed by Elevate, and they started strong today, then got countered, then countered the counter, and figured things out. And at the end of it, when it came to longevity, they stood the test of time on Cafe. Yeah. They were the better team.
They did. It was a tough situation where kind of a defense double for HL TAURI, attack double for Unreal Nightmare, but that's no excuse because Unreal Nightmare had some really good attacks. They went 3-3 in the first half. You can see what it means to HL TAURI. I feel like the momentum completely swung into overtime at the end of that game. And now HL TAURI move on to Chalet, which is Unreal Nightmare's map pick, and they've won their first map of the APL. It's a fight for survival here in the lower bracket. The loser of this game is done, finished for Kickoff. The winner will play on not just today, but later this afternoon into the evening against Soul's Heart. The battle for survival now puts Unreal Nightmare in the hot seat on Chalet.
Now it's definitely gonna be a bit of a vibe difference on Chalet. Again, we're gonna talk a lot about a quicker pace, more roaming, more a split theory, attack from different locations. I also think Chalet opens up the door for something that we didn't see like once on Cafe, which is direct attacks. Essentially a bomb site rush. You can rush basement, you can rush bar, you can rush master bedroom. I'm not saying it's very common and that every team does it, and so should these guys. I'm just saying that it's a possibility from a strategical perspective that we've not seen yet. And all it takes for a rush to have a long-lasting effect is for one rush to work. Because the second that happens, you're a defender going, guys, let's not do a 4-man library roam and a master bedroom defense because they could just rush it again. And it's actually going to change how you play every round to come. And it's not fear, right? It's respect. You have to respect the fact that they can rush it, and you gotta respect the fact that they're good at it. So I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for that. If any team can pull that off. I mean, this can change very quickly, but it's like a repick James, but Glass and Sense, Grim Monty, this could already be one of those rushes if they stick these operators.
I'd love to see it. The thing for me that I really liked from Unreal Nightmare on the first map was in one of those early rounds. We saw HL TAURI had Chattermint running around like crazy on the Solus. He runs out, he gets a kill on a player repelling, and within 2 seconds, the entire of Unreal Nightmare have said, one off-site, let's collapse. What do they call it in on the old space station team? They had a name for Crank. Was it Crank?
Or is it Crank It?
Yeah. They just said Crank It. And then they all went together at the same time. And despite being in a disadvantage, they won the round convincingly because they overwhelmed the bomb site together at the same time. A lot of gusto, and it's a classic thing about the modern day of Siege, right? A synchronized execute is so much more important than a good plan. You can plan as much as you like until you get punched in the face, and then you got to bring something new to the table, and you got to work it together.
Well, that's exactly right. Well, defenders have a couple of things that can help you once these punches start coming out, right? The frost traps, the thorn traps, the razor blooms, of course, and the mine magnets. They can help you, give you information. They can stop a push that its tracks, and they can give you, of course, some protection from grenades. Because if we think of Cafe, what was the most annoying piece of utility being spent by Unreal Nightmare? It was frag grenades. There's been 4 this round, 2 now dead. Of course, the Deimos going down. Great opening from HL TAURI once again, striking first. They didn't do this at all last week, and today they're actively trying to play for opening pick and then play a bit safer in the mid round. They found it on Cafe, and they found it here in the first map for Chalet.
HL TAURI have really locked in ever since that tactical timeout they took in the first map with their coach Vaughn, of course, like we said, the former coach of that old Fury team, the now Team Awkward roster. Ow.
Oi.
That was a little bit of a headbutt from Shaz as Tenno goes down, looks for a little bit more. Might actually be able to find the kill. That would open things up. Shadow comes into support, and Unreal Nightmare are back in the advantage. Sunstrike's in an awkward spot. He'll find one kill, but he's the last one standing. It's a 1v4 with Chatterman on the floor. As he's already found the first kill, perhaps it's possible. Great grenade. Flushes him straight into Big J's waiting arms, and Unreal Nightmare kick things off on Chalet.
Again, the grenade has been the most instrumental piece of util for Unreal Nightmare. It literally gets them 1 or 2 kills a round, and that was with Deimos dying early, so they only had 2 instead of 4. They could have doubled down on those had that not happened.
Yeah, great start.
Keep it up.
I do feel like there's quite a difference in the way these two teams play. HL TAURI on Cafe were very, very slow on their attacking side. Unreal Nightmare are so much faster, so much more chaotic. And this is something you said near the start of that previous map, right? You think that moving on to the later maps in this series that are a little bit more loose and a little bit more split, you think that that will favor Unreal Nightmare's playstyle?
Bonk. Thing about Chalet and Nighthaven is a bit similar, as mentioned. So again, Cafe is so hard to take too much away from it in terms of like how the entire BO3 ends up playing out. But HL TAURI, regardless of what happens at all from here on out, that Cafe match shows us the level that they can perform at. And I think that's going to give the players so much confidence to just fight back eventually, fight back on Nighthaven to go the distance, because they actually have some confidence and some results to back it up. Because up against Elevate, it's like, guys, we lost this one, we lost the next one. They were kind of laughing when they're losing at the end because they felt like the game was so unplayable. But now, it feels playable.
Yeah. For me, the most impressive thing about what happened on Cafe was HL TAURI's lack of ability to give up. Their just dedication to commit. The way they bounce back after their tactical timeout. Doesn't matter that they're struggling on the favored side of Cafe. They really gritted their teeth and got through it. Doesn't matter that they had 15 seconds left in a lot of those executes. They made 2 of them work with basically no time and no resources to do. Big J's on for a lurk though, down in the basement. He might actually be able to catch Hoxlast over on the library stairs. The doe could be cool, might bait him forward. This will come down to a bit of a reaction time game though. Big J needs to make sure not to reveal his position because he has no cover if he marches forward. Good nade, that'll take down the barbed wire, but I just don't really see how Big J can win this unless if Hoxlast over peaks.
I'm curious if we're gonna see Shaz in action. Well, K3 goes down first. Bottom blue stairs, very early gunfight with no real support, no trade, no pressure anywhere else on the map. That's the thing about Chalet, right? You want to apply pressure in many different locations at once, keep the defenders not knowing where the attack is actually happening from, and then make your approach. Losing that backstab player in bottom blue, that's gonna make the rush, or the bomb side push rather, a lot more complicated later on.
Here comes the nade, and it will indeed net a kill by flushing the player out of that position, and the guns come to life for Unreal Nightmare. Killer now, the last line of defense for Library. He finds one. The flashbang a little bit too late, and a refrag might be possible here for WAG, but it is a 1v1. And if WAG loses it, then it should be the round for HL TAURI. That puts a lot of pressure on finding this kill, and Killer is just going to hide back. Don't think Shadow knows he's just around the corner.
Just don't move a muscle, don't make a sound, get ready for the counter swing. Here he goes, that time and doing Shaz
Oh
planting.
no!
He used the flank!
Unlucky there for Killer. He misses window, and now Hoxlast finding
what?
one, finding 2.
What?
It's now Shadow forced into a clutch scenario. He sneaks into the back of sight. Is he going to find the angle? He reveals his position. It's a 1v2. He can't find the first one. He needs to bring out the pistol. They're both off. One prone on the floor, both prone on the floor, finds the first kill. Hoxlast has to commit now. Shadow's low HP, needs to find the close kill, and he does finish the round with the pistol. A big sigh of relief for Shadow, and thankfully for Unreal Nightmare, a weathering of what was a very chaotic round.
I mean, I get the sigh of relief. It's a 3v2 post plant, and then the ace just sends it down the library, heads towards the bomb site. You had the most, controlled position top floor. You can go outside library window, go in the rappel upside down, play on the library hedge. You have an insane win condition, so hard to lose. But by dropping down and dying, plus the plant going down shortly after, that makes that round very hard to win. And then on top of that, when you saw Shadow go for the flank, he actually tries to wall bang with the DMR right before he takes the gunfight. So he gives away his own location. He also only had 9 bullets, so he had to reload or go for a pistol swap in the middle of a clutch.
Bomb located by attackers.
Thank God.
Thank God he's
he
good
wins
with the
that one.
pistol, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
10 seconds to go.
Again, it's Unreal Nightmare honestly didn't have a ton of individual heroics on Cafe, and I think that's kind of a good thing, right? You win as a team, you lose as a team. Sometimes you need to clutch, and I feel like when you go to max overtime, you know, one clutch round quite literally makes a difference. TAURI won 2 or 3 attacks, landing at 0 seconds. There are so many moments on Cafe where if Unreal Nightmare get that one player winning one more gunfight, they could literally have taken Cafe. Instead, it got all the distance. Chatterman, same thing as on Cafe. He will jump out, he will take the fight, he will seize the kill.
You know how I can tell that Chatterman is a Giga Chad?
How?
Because he runs the Tubarão, which is the new, like, Bandit Jaeger, but he runs the MPX. People run the Tubarão so that they have an ACOG with the DMR, but he's doing it for the MPX. That's how you know he's a true Giga Chad.
Well, bro doesn't want the ACOG, I guess. I don't know. Shadow trades back, though, taking down Hawks effortlessly, not losing anything in return, just some utility to assist him. Really has been the story of frag grenades today for Unreal Nightmare. Every round, they are used in important areas, netting either a kill or a good bit of pressure. But what now? No more grenades, only one flashbang in pocket. They can get the Grim Beast. That gets in the building, gets the melee.
Yeah, very nice from the Blackbeard. However, a backstab here and a flank opportunity. Tenno, he falls back down. He's actually prone, I believe, in Trophy.
Ratting.
Exposed to Vert. He is ratting, doing his best attempt. But he is vulnerable now. If he stands up at the wrong time, Shadow should take him down for free.
They're gonna assume he fell back, surely, because why would he stick around against a BB? Doesn't make any sense, right? You gotta use your logic and go, guys, it's clear, don't worry about it. The same thing goes to Mezzanine. They don't know that the flank could be on, but he actually drops onto lobby. That could be dangerous. There's a player outside. He hears him. He manages to go back upstairs or go in a different avenue in basement.
Yeah, Shadow knows what's up, though. You're right. He is going to rotate all the way down through basement. Is Killer leaving Sunstrike, the only player on site, but Tenno isn't far. Still ratting in his position. Sunstrike also can gain a lot of information with that pulse scanner, but he's not going to be great in long-range fights. All he has is that little Reaper. But now, Tenno's position has been exposed, and he will go down. Shadow has finally put him on the floor. Shaz has finished him off. Flank opportunity now for Killers, but he's the last one left, 1v3. And they've got him locked down. Oh, Big J falls.
Danger.
Maybe there's a way back into it. He still has a C4. What a shot to thread the needle against Shadow. And now the pressure is on the Blackbeard. Does he go for the plant? Does he go for the res? Or does he go for the kill? He starts planting that diffuser. Nitro Cell comes out! The Nitro does a lot of damage, but doesn't finally find the kill. And Shaz will re-swing it, commits to the fight, and gets a second round on the board, or third round in a row for Unreal Nightmare.
Look at K3's player cam. He is all the way down in the chair thinking, what just happened? Hands on his head. The BB lived with a single point of health. If that C4 is like a pixel closer to him, if the BB looked a pixel to his left or his right, up or down, that changed how much damage you take with the shield grounding, that explosive resistance. Literally, any tiny detail can change the outcome of that one, but it was thanks to some phenomenal individual shots from TAURI that gave them a win chance of that round. But it does prove one thing. The way Chalet plays out, the more chaotic playstyle, I think Chatterman is loving the more chaos, the freedom. But the other members of TAURI, they're giving me the vibe that they like the more organized and structured way of playing the game, which maps like Chalet, Border, Nighthaven Labs don't give you as much of. This could become a map V2 problem later on if this issue continues on Chalet, and if we need to, of course, all the way onto Nighthaven Labs.
The Blackbeard really helped a lot to counter that aggressive. Of course, Chatterman ended up having to 1v1 that Blackbeard. And when you've got a good Blackbeard player like Shaz that can take, what, 2+ 1v1s at a round and win them consistently, then the question is begged, do you start banning shields against this team? We've just had the third operator bans come through, Pengu, and no shield ban. In fact, we have one of the shield counters get banned. So now no Denari, no Thorn. That's two operators that are really good against shields taken out of the equation. On the TAURI side, they just banned out the Lion, which, yes, has been good across the series, but I'd be scared about the shield operators more than the Lion at this juncture. Now, no shields picked this round, so they don't have to deal with it, but in future, I guess they're really relying on Capcan traps to try and deal damage to shield operators.
Yeah, we have a lot of discussions about Capcan in the last couple of play days of APL, because it's one of those operators where you can literally get a kill or two in a given round, or you can get absolutely no damage done at all. It's a very high risk, high reward, or more maybe high impact, low impact operator. But it is a nice little curveball for HL TAURI to utilize, because if it goes unnoticed and on drone, you're gonna run into a door and not even check for the cap cans, because you don't check them every single round unless you know it's being played. So I'm curious if Unreal Nightmare, they have an inkling about this. If they're gonna be checking the doorways. They don't seem to that they are.
Uh-oh.
Trouble. So a Capcan trap fire canister kill into Tenno getting a kill with Jaeger at the exact same moment. So 2 members go down in a single frame.
Yeah. It's hard to come back from a round in a 3v5 on a map like Chalet, on a bomb site like this, without fishing a little bit. So we're going to need to see this mid-round be a little bit of bait game from Unreal Nightmare. And it kind of comes down to how much HL TAURI will give them. But you're right, like just a tiny little play here and there, a Capcan trap well placed. I mean, you talked about how it can be all or nothing, and that was a huge impact with the Capcan. This is the perfect chance to go fishing, but no, Chatterman will find his kill, and K3 is out of it. 2v5 now, and it feels like HL TAURI will finally get themselves a defense on the board.
Yeah, and there's nothing else Unreal Nightmare can do right now. Like, realistically speaking, they have to just go in the building, try and go for broke, and do something completely silly, because they have lost this round. And they gotta try and bring it back. So push double door piano, jump in the window, force the 2v1 gunfight. A good toxic wave actually to counter the push, but Shadow finds a kill to the smoke first.
Yeah, well played from Shadow and Big J together to isolate those players. But Tenno plays the smart move. He falls back, giving up a lot of ground here. But it just forces Unreal Nightmare to do more, to go and clear the bomb site positions, which is a lot easier said than done in a 2 versus 4.
Fire here could be good. The issue is he can play by the door on the right-hand side as he is, so he's completely safe. Again, you got EMP, smoke, jump on in maybe and just risk it all, but it's a Warden. Smoking is not going to do a damn thing. He's got the glasses, got the C4. So maybe it's on to Shadow on that DMR, has 8 kills. Has to find a few more in this round to be winnable.
He's going to die to Chatterman in just a second. Oh, never mind.
Nope. Oh,
Nails him straight in the head. 2v3 is winnable if he can land some more shots, but no, not to be. And Sunstrike with the Warden on site can see through that smoke and lock down the first round on Chalet for HL TAURI.
I mean, we spoke about the Capcan impact. You can literally get a kill, or you can literally do nothing. They low-key won the round because of it. I mean, like the Capcan trap and Tenno got a kill at the same time. It's a 3 versus 5 shot. The attackers have no way into the building. They lose both the Grim and the Ace. Like, literally the only hard destruction, and then the strongest gadget in the game, basically. It makes the round infinitely harder. And HL TAURI don't make any mistakes. I mean, again, they're playing good Siege in these more stabilized rounds. That's not really my concern. The concern is the chaotic rounds. When Unreal Nightmare are everywhere and attacking from different locations, that's where they seem to fall a little bit short. So if Unreal Nightmare can just stay composed and, you know, double drone, not die early, that should net them the best results.
Here's my question. Where's my shields at? Where's my Dokkaebi at? Like, just really put him under the pump. They banned the Lion, and we saw Chatterman all over the map all at once. Use that Dokkaebi. Anti-rat. Like, how HL TAURI love playing a little bit of rat game. Even Tenno, remember on that dining and kitchen defense, he finds a kill upstairs and he goes and rats underneath in trophy. Unreal Nightmare found that because they were slow and persistent. We've got Deimos. I honestly think you can double down. Deimos plus Dokkaebi plus Monty or Blackbeard. You know you've got some good shield players with Shaz. I don't think that this is the play. I mean, even, I don't know, maybe the Twitch is an overthink here, maybe not. There's a lot of util here with the Ella and the Fenrir, but yeah. I don't know. I just feel like this is a missed opportunity from Unreal Nightmare. We know what works. Why are we not doing it?
My only line of thinking is that you're expecting them to counter it. I mean, if you look at playing, I mean, okay, Monty would still be kind of fine here, but they're the more like a Blackbeard team. Playing Blackbeard against Ella, Fenrir, and Shashanga, there's a lot of opportunities to die to getting guard broken, right? Because the Fire does it, the Ella does it, the C4 and Impacts can do it as well. Only meaning that like, Fenrir you can fight, you just can't see a damn thing. And I mean, I don't know. They want the guns, I suppose. They got, again, 2 sets of frag grenades every single round. That's what they want. You got K3 on the Deimos, and they got Wacky and Nightberry off on the Striker, looking at that first injury, but Tenno falls back, drops over the mezzanine rafters, and goes into lobby. Thank God for the door frame.
Yeah, that saved K3's life. Unfortunately, Shadow's timing was just slightly too behind to catch Tenno on that retreat. The bomb site is all the way upstairs in Master, but Unreal Nightmare very much are focused on taking control of mezzanine across. Now, the Deimos could go in down below and try and vertically challenge some of these players, but he's going to have to deal with Chatterman and these other players on the roam if he is to do that, which is a bit hard to do so. Problem is there's no hard breach in the lineup, so they can't really put much pressure on Sunstrike on the bomb site.
I think they messed up not having Kendall missing the Grim or the Striker, because, I mean, you want Hobbit here.
Or the Deimos.
All the Deimos, but you want the frag grenades, right? I feel like what are Claymore's doing right now? They're doing practically 0.
Yeah.
This is gonna mean the round is kind of cooked, and it's TAURI swing and go wide and die, or Unreal Nightmare just make a huge play somewhere. But K3 don't health, and now dead actually just on strike. This play becomes infinitely harder because you only got 2 ways to attack from, and you got 5 defenders watching it. Misfire.
Yeah, I noticed K3 just went for that play solo. Didn't have any support, didn't have anyone else enter. Shadow tries to make a play.
Speaking of.
Wow, big plays here from Sunstrike. The Tachanka on the bomb side. He's found 3 so far, looks for a 4th. Wag finally shuts him down, but he's about to get flanked from the top of library stairs. Chatterman makes his way back towards the bomb site. I don't know if they are aware of it. Indeed, Wag is.
The roof.
3K. And now Killer is in a 1 versus 2, but the diffuser is, well, on Big J in office. He has to plant it. No C4 for Killer, but Wag is low HP. The player covering is vulnerable, but Wag goes big, finds a 4th, and Unreal Nightmare find their 4th round on the board and Chalet.
Dude, somebody please help Sunstrike. He's Tachanka getting 3 kills, almost taking down the 4th player. He's the first line of defense in office, fighting door and fighting the breach with the gadget out half the goddamn round. And still somehow the defense falls. I mean, that's just a matter of individual players either losing their gunfight or looking in the wrong direction. They can only attack you from the office door walk-in, the breach, which you can hold from piano, by the way, and then window jump-ins and bathroom and piano. But you have 5 defenders. Hawks was alive right before the execute. There's no way there's any gaps with Ella and Fenrir on the board unless the Tristron somehow found every piece of util, which I don't think was the case. Huge clutch by Unreal Nightmare. All the small moments they were losing on Cafe, they are now winning here in Chalet.
Yeah, I think we always expected Unreal Nightmare to have a bit more on Chalet than HL TAURI.
Sure.
Based on, obviously, the history there. Both these teams have only played 1 match so far. HL TAURI got decimated by Elevate. Unreal Nightmare got put away by Team Orchid, but gave them a decent fight.
Yeah.
And, of course, the last time these teams met back in the Challenger Series when they were called Dolphin Esports and 7th Heaven, Unreal Nightmare won quite convincingly there as well. We always thought that Unreal Nightmare were going to be the favored team. If anything, it's the fact that HL TAURI came out ahead on Cafe that has surprised me so far. But also, Pengu, it gives me hope. Because we know that they can bounce back after a hard start, which they already did on Cafe. Yeah. Even if they lose Chalet here, there's a chance to redeem themselves on Nighthaven Labs.
It's also why we love best of 3s, right? I mean, best of 1 wouldn't give you the full story. It still would have made that Cafe match an exciting and thrilling game, and the underdog obviously wins and whatnot, hallelujah. But in BO3, you get the chance about consistency and longevity across the series. And I think that's much more valuable. HL TAURI, regardless of outcome here in Chalet, also get experience. Again, their playstyle doesn't seem to favor these more aggressive-oriented maps, but there are a lot of them in the map pool, as we say. Right? Nighthaven Labs, Chalet, Border. That's 3 of the 9 maps. If that's 3 permabans right there, you're heavily limiting yourself in a map builder for best of 3s. So they gotta learn them. They gotta get that experience. This is a very important moment for them to get that done. They're building towards that 2nd round. They got a bit of Walter now on the kite and the mute trying to stop them from breaching, but they keep swinging these goddamn doors. Settlement. He is the #1 aggro player on HL TAURI's roster. He's down 30 HP, proning by the breach. 1 drone gets found out, he'll be as good as dead.
Wow, this is a really gnarly angle as
well.
Surely they do. Indeed, they swing, and he goes down for Chatterman. However, Unreal Nightmare suffer a loss in Big J, because Hoxlast is there to support. 4v4. Unreal Nightmare really mounting up this pressure onto this defense.
This push and piano, if they go for it, it's gonna be everything. If you take down the Hawk Slash without suffering any losses, you get all the map control you need. But if he finds you first, that makes it harder.
No second swing here from Shaz. He's got flashes. He needed to time it with when his teammate of Shadow pushed. And now, Killer is there to support from behind. And HL TAURI have brought this round back in their favor. K3 and WAG have to go big. WAG has had a lot of big impact rounds in this game so far.
Frag grenade out!
K3 tosses out a frag, but no, he doesn't know that Hoxus is still prone, lying on the floor. It's WAG now in a 1v3. He has to take matters into his own hands, and that starts with Hoxlas, who has had a phenomenal round so far. He opens it, and he is happy to close it as well. HL TAURI find their second as we go to the halftime vibe check. Damn, I like that one. Bit of energy in the halftime vibe check. What do you think, Pengu? Keep it or delete it?
I think that's another keeper. We're going strong today.
Hell yeah, we are.
Vibe check by vibe check, keep after keep. I like this vibe. I do. Are you gonna take any self-praise for these? Did you add these?
No,
was it your thing?
Funnily enough, I am not recognizing most of the music that we have played in APL.
Oh, so you chose all the music then that didn't make the cut. I see. Okay.
Yeah, I must have. I was passionate about all the like tactical timeout, the victory music, the replay music, stuff like that. But no, I didn't know that we were doing halftime vibe checks when I was picking the music, so I actually didn't create the halftime vibe check playlists. But the team that has made it has been pretty solid. I like that they're not afraid to try something a little bit different. Sometimes there are misses, but there are more hits than misses for sure.
Speaking of tech timeouts and the lack of music during them from your end, I feel like we don't steal on an APL. Like just like kind of like off. I have no stats to back this up or anything, but the feeling of like we worked EML for a singular play day, and we worked APL like tons of times the last year, obviously. I feel like this region on average takes less tech timeouts than other regions. Do you have any like vibe about that?
Yeah.
Like, do you feel similar or dissimilar?
No, I would agree. We've obviously had one tactical timeout in this series so far. It was HL TAURI on Cafe. Unreal Nightmare could have used their tactical timeout, and they ended up losing that match. Of course, they had to attack twice in overtime. You would have thought that that would be the perfect chance to use their tactical timeout, but they didn't. So, look, I don't disagree with you. Perhaps a working theory is that in regions like Europe, North America, Brazil, obviously there's a lot more money going around, a lot more organizations. There's a lot more staff as well supporting the players. In APAC, you know, obviously both of these teams were orgless just a few weeks ago when they qualified for APL through the Challenger Series. And while we know that HL TAURI has Vorm coaching them, we don't know if there's much support staff. And perhaps the less involved support staff, the less likely a team is to take their tactical.
Another right angle, different player though. K3 first on here in defense. Proning below the library double window. If he hears anybody go on a drone, he's gonna send it straight outside. He's currently 0 and 6. He needs this kill. He wants it, goes for it, gets it, removes Lion, takes away a huge gadget, and of course the frag grenades. And guess what? He's not gonna run away, James. He is staying beneath that window for a bit longer.
Tempt Fate, maybe go for another one later on. He's pretty safe for now as well. I like the play. Oh, he's actually going to rotate. Just realized that's K3's first kill of the map so far. He's died every single round that we've played up until this point. He's also still got 4 keeper barriers in pocket. Wow, bit of damage on a Chatterman as well. He's really just trying to let HL TAURI know that you are not safe. Doesn't matter where you are on the map. I am coming for you.
So a bit of vibe check. If he gets the kill, but then dies with 4 key bars in pocket of 5 now, is it worth it? Or is he trolling? That's my question.
It's negative aura.
Okay, negative aura. Well, Shadow dies instead. That's Solace. Not as bad, of course, to lose because it's active utility.
What is this?
A Blitz going for the ADS swing song's like crazy, dude. First, it's a Shanga play. Now the Blitz. Going for the push. They got the flying drones as well. With Solace being dead, they can't find those drones if any other people try to attempt it. We still see K3 and Asami deep inside a library and top mezzanine. I don't think they fully read that there's going to be a Solarium push just yet. And Big J on the smoke, who's in that first position of contact in Solarium, is quite low on health.
Yeah, but good play from Big J to shoot off that keeper barrier. Sorry, keeper barrier. Ace Selma. What is going on here? How did he fall off the roof? He must have fallen off the roof. Man, that's rough. That's going to burn a lot of time. Sunstrike's going to have to go outside. He's worried about being peeked from the vert above him. There is still a util on this window that Chatterman has to chew through to go for a breach. They want to breach open the wall from Solarium. They have to get rid of this gate. They have to prevent Big J from swinging and then throw a Selma on. There's a lot of tech involved. There's a lot of coordination involved in that, and I don't think there's time. This is classic HL TAURI. How many times on Cafe do we see them try and execute with 15 seconds left?
It happens too often, but this time is up a staircase. A rappel in a window is not going to get pretty. Flashbang, go in and hope for the best.
Oh, Killer, though, does find a kill with the nade. K3, though, will reply. It's all up to Sunstrike. Wow, very low on HP. And finished off by the Razor Bloom to go boom for Unreal Nightmare. It's a good start. After a phenomenal attacking half, their defense is looking rock solid.
And that's why I said you rappel and hope for the best, because strategically on paper, there's not a lot of ways to win that round. You're up against all the utility, the timer's running low, and as I said, you literally have a staircase and a window rappel. It is just the 2 most difficult ways to take a gunfight in this game, especially when you have a Blitz who has to walk up, get the info, then go for an ADS swing. And then there's go for Renegade, Razor Bloom, etc. So they did what they had to. They tried their hardest. I am a little bit curious, actually, now that I look at the K3's kill tally, if Sledge didn't fall off the roof but got injured from the library hallway window where Shaz is right now, because he has 2 kills and the assist. Now, I didn't look at the exact kill feed and pick apart every death and kill, but K3 could have injured the Sledge. That's your assist for the injury when he died later in the round, and then he got a 2nd kill when they pushed bathroom. So there is a world where there's an injurer, not a falling off the roof angle there from the Sledge last round.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't want to throw too much shade.
No. I mean, it looked like when we went to his player cam or his point of view that he did fall off the roof because where he was laying on the ground. But there was also a sledgehammer hole in the garage in front of him, so I'm not sure if that was him leaving the garage and dying when he walked out from the window or whatever. But either way, it's a huge round from K3 who had a very sloppy start to Chalet.
Yeah, it's crazy. You go 0 and 6, and then you're just like, you know what? I'm gonna spawn peek this round. And then I got 2 kills last round. Oh yeah, I'm gonna spawn peek this round too. I respect it. Never mind, he's dead. I don't respect it. What a dirty rash.
I mean, it's literally how it is, right? It's like, oh, great job, you got the kill. Ah, dude, what are you doing? Why do you swing the window?
What are you doing?
Dude, you did it last round. They're gonna be ready for it now. Come on, man. Pick a different window.
Like, the best players in the world, they're not necessarily doing it every round and committing to it. They'll do it one round, and then the next round they'll kind of do it, but they'll just do it in such a safe way that they're never going to die. And the chance they get a kill is also very low, but they're just keeping that pressure up and buying time for their team.
Yeah. Again, we know TAURI tend to be a slow attacking team, so this one will be one of those cases where if you don't get the spawn peak and you die instead, which of course what happened this round, you're giving them essentially 20 to 30 seconds of extra time. The reasoning for this is they have one less roamer now to fight on the roam game, or they gotta make the bombs weaker and surrender a player there to replace the player who died earlier. And of course, you just have an easier way into the building in general because there's more gaps now. So getting a kill is going to give you time on the attack, just like getting a kill on defense gives you time in reverse. It takes longer for the attackers to clear the same amount of space because they have less bodies and less drones to do so. So TAURI now, yes, it looks a bit slow, 125 on the clock here, but they do have a quicker way to speed up later due to having less guns facing their direction.
Still quite a bit of a roam game alive. Downstairs, Shadow gets spotted and finally taken down by Chatterman. Good patience there as the bomb is about to go down here. Hoxless deep in the site, looking for something. Upstairs, Killer is holding down the display hallway, and yet nobody is home on the objective. Hoxless confirms the plant into the post. Shaz, nice little wallbang onto Tenno, but 1v5. Even on his best day, this is probably not achievable.
Shouldn't be. Again, you got the upstairs, the downstairs, and outside the bomb site window. There was a great post plant. Then TAURI, again, two people take down the spawn peaker. They kind of reset the round for a bit. They watch their flank so patiently in the basement, and they don't do that execute before they get a significant player advantage. 5v3, and they know the bomb site is weakened. All of these small things, you can almost see happen because K3 went for the swing. Had he not died, Smoke doesn't have to play on the roam. That means you can play by the bomb side, then either Plander, so Thorn has to go for a swing and die. Maybe you don't feel like they need to flank in basement because you have man advantage or equal manpower. Literally one person dying in a bad location can turn the entire outcome because somebody has to either replace that position or just not have a player there at all, weakening somebody else's spot because there's no crossfire. So it's really these opening kills can do such a big damage on towards defense.
Also, just sometimes right up redder, right place. Warden, who's the one who died spawn peeking, had he been on the bomb site at the end there, doesn't matter how many smokes you deploy, he's peeking through them, he can deny the plant, which is exactly what we saw from TAURI on their defense of that exact bomb site. So, Unreal Nightmare, just be careful not to get too complacent. K3, you're not him, like, just chill. And we'll swap up bomb sites as well. So dining and kitchen for the first time for Unreal Nightmare. They won on the top floor. They lost on bar gaming. I like that they're not going basement. I like that neither of these teams are trying to get tempted by the arguably worst bomb site at a competitive level on this map.
Yeah. No, it is a tough one. Again, when you have a bomb site with exterior breaches where you can't roam and support them, they're guaranteed to get opened up, and that just means bomb site is vulnerable from outside the building, and it gets really messy very quickly. The other maps here in Chile can give you more map control. This could be a rush from TAURI. Look at the blitz in the building. They're gonna go for it.
Yep. He's deep in the site. Is there anybody home? There is not. There's one player inside a kitchen, and he might get a bit of damage on Hoxless. Oh no, he turned around to try and go for a plant with a shield on his back, but unfortunately for him, he didn't start planting early enough. The shield didn't protect him. And Shaz has held down on the trophy stairs every single attacker that tries to march on through to his position or even finish off another. Sunstrike 1v4 on the Glaz, and Unreal Nightmare can just sit back and relax. There's nothing to be done.
Yeah, this is I mean, again, unwinnable round. Maybe just take a small breather and just call it quote-unquote tactical timeout without actually calling it. Just AFK in trench. No, he gets kicked before you do it. He doesn't get to take the fake attack timeout to talk to him about the next upcoming round because they aggress into the swing and they take him instead. Beautiful.
Bada bim, bada boom. Match point for Pengu and Devmata and Unreal Nightmare. I know, I was going to say match point for us, Pengu, but then I didn't say us, and then I was like, match point for Pengu, so congratulations, Pengu, you're on match point.
I'm about to win, dude. Let's go.
Hell yeah. Oh, this has been a very different
Hell's yeah.
story to Cafe. Cafe was, the first half felt one-sided. Second half felt very close. Overtime felt very close. And sadly, Chalet just hasn't been as close. Couple of good rounds from HL TAURI, but not nearly enough to make this a competitive fight. And I know that they came back, they fended off 2 match points on Cafe, but I don't think they'll do the same here on Chalet.
It does seem a lot more unlikely, that's for sure. And I gotta say, in that last round rush, it really is just HL TAURI, again, missing out on like the 1% play, right? They're not losing in the 99 where like they're failing all of these areas. It's that they do the right thing, they have a good read, they have the right attack strategy for the given setup, but they just miss one small thing. And I'm not sure if it was a sound issue or a confidence issue there. They do the Dokkaebi call, they rush in the bomb site, and instead of clearing kitchen and making sure there's nobody playing by the site itself, they just instantly start planting before the smoke could pop, before the cover was established, etc. If you don't hear the guy in kitchen, you gotta face check it with the blitz, because the assumption is always, unless you have perfect drone info, there's at least one defender by the bomb site every single round. You can never assume that it's clear. You assume there's one person until you can't find them. Then you can think that it's clear. They didn't hear the guy being Dokkaebi called, I guess, and they didn't check it either. That's the 1% mistake. It's either you hear them or you check them. You can't just do neither and stop planting and hoping that the enemy is AFK. Because eventually, if they do plant that diffuser, I mean, that's going to be a massive chance at winning. The moment the planter dies, it's the opposite. Now there's almost no chance of winning.
Yeah.
I see you.
Siege is such a plant game. Like, retaking and like as a defender, you know, giving them the bombs for free, it's just not a thing in this game, really. We see it very rarely, and even more rare is it successful to like give the bomb set to go for a 2v2 retake. The post-plant and siege is just disgustingly strong for the attackers. Just like if you die in the plant location, defenders have a much higher win rate because now the diffuser is stuck in a really awkward location that you can watch from below, you know, beneath, above, whatever. C4, smokes, etc. So much plant denial in this game. So it really is so many rounds come down to either trying to plant or successfully planting.
Yeah, I do guess it is somewhat situational and map dependent. Nice pick though on the Shadow. We've seen the best teams in the world will know when not to over-aggress as a defense when the attack is close to a bomb site. Sometimes it's about, okay, plant it now. Sometimes it's about disrupting before they plant. Sometimes, especially like if you're in a 4v3, for example, it might be, guys, let them in. Or let them start planting, and then we aggress. Because let's say you're in a 4v3 as a defense. Plant starts going down. You're in a 4v2, essentially. Because one guy is planting. That's when you make your move. It's situational. Wow, what a shot from Tenno. This is too aggressive from Unreal Nightmare, getting a little bit ahead of themselves. And this is the thing. Whenever Unreal Nightmare like lose an early kill, it's very hard for them to convert that back. Like when you're in a 3v5, these guys tend to just double down, and HL TAURI, because they play so slowly, they don't let Unreal Nightmare back into it. And now it's a 2v4, and I think HL TAURI are tempted to get back into it. Shaz finds a double. He's the last one left. Guy has 13 kills, by the way. He's going to need to ace up this round to keep his team in it without finding a 4th round loss, and unfortunately that is the way things go. For HL TAURI, another round on the board, 2 more, and overtime could be on the docket. But it's a long way to get there. They'll need a couple of more rounds like that.
I really hope that somebody in that team of Unreal Nightmare goes, guys, remember how we were winning before we lost on Cafe? Remember how we were winning here on Chalet? HL TAURI, when they're on the attack inside, they're not what we call typical playmakers. They're not often a team to, you know, go in the building and fight for the map clear and get the winning kill. They often rely on having a player holding a window, cutting off a rotation, and the defenders walking into the line of sight. They are very slow and methodical. If Unreal Nightmare let go of the mouse and keyboard in the early stage of the round, don't go for the flank, don't go for the window swing, HL TAURI is just waiting for them to do it. If you then never do it, they're just waiting without getting any value back. You install so much time and force them to a poor location. So I feel like if you're Unreal Nightmare, play a bit safer in the early stage of the round, play on the bomb side in the late stage, and just give them time, because it favors the defense always. Give the attackers time to do nothing and keep burning down that clock.
little chance to just get a rehearse. Oh, that's cute. I like that from Killers. He's actually got a little APL wallpaper on his second monitor.
That's very nice.
Oh, it's the vmix.
it's the feed.
Yeah, it's the feed
Yeah.
for him to send his face cam to the production team. Very cool. It's a kind of a cool thing to have on your second monitor, just this big splash screen that says APL. You know, one thing I often think about is like, what's the difference between game day and a regular day? Obviously, if you're at a tournament, a LAN event, it's very obvious. You know, you're not playing on your normal setup. You're in a physical space that feels very different, and that has its own, you know, levels of nerves it adds to you, also levels of excitement. What about for just a regular play day? How do you tell yourself it's not just a scrim? And that's one little part of it. You have the little APL splash screen in your second monitor.
No, it's true. I mean, so many players have different routines to get into match day mindset, right? And I think it's funny because there are some players who just wake up and they just play the game and that's it. You know, no warm-up ritual, no real way of approaching it. Then you have people who have to wake up exactly at 7:28 and then they gotta get into the shower in a 5-minute time span, or they're gonna have the mental chalk. And it's like first the left shoe, then the right shoe, and you gotta get the right height with the monitor, like so specific and so niche. And you can play the exact same level, the highest level of competition, one being super obsessive about the minor details and one not giving a fly about it at all. What kind of player are you, James? Do you have like a lot of rituals? Obviously you don't play Pro League, but when you go into a seed set, when you're grinding, you're in the moment, do you have specific things that has to be a certain way to play the game at your level?
That's a good question. I feel like I used to be a lot more like that, but these days, no, not really. In fact, I find so part of it is about knowing yourself, right? And I think for me, I'm someone that when I try and make a big deal out of things, I play worse. Like, because I'm a classic overthinker. Like, I'm just one of those people that, not just in Siege, but in life in general, I overthink. So when I just try and chill and make things very normal, you know, it's better. I also know sometimes I get caught in the trap of distracting myself. You know, as every time, you know, you get back in the queue, I open up my phone and I just, you know, you open the same 3 apps over and over and you're like, what am I doing here? I'm not actually like, I'm just seeking dopamine. No. I'm not actually doing anything productive. And I think it's just good to identify what are the bad habits that maybe you should kick and what are the good habits that maybe, you know, work for you.
That's hard. I think critical thinking in that, I really respect people who can do it because I think it's so hard to reflect accurately without bias and go, I know this is bad for me, and then actually make a change towards bettering it. Because I think finding the issue in the first place, that's difficult. And then finding the solution for it and fixing like a year-long bad habit, for example, is even more difficult. We all know that doom scrolling is bad for you in bed in the morning and night, right? You're gonna lose so much sleep and you're gonna wake up on the wrong side of the bed and whatnot. Yeah. But we all do it anyway. Yeah. We all know it's bad. Yeah, we all do it.
It's the classic. It's the classic. What about you? What are your game day rituals now? Obviously, they'll be different to when you competed. But you know, if you're gonna lock in, try and farm some elo, what's your set? What's your
Dude, it's so bad. So currently I am on the early AM grind from the rank streams that I do, because that's when like the rank stack that I play with is on, and I find that there are less people cheating early morning and whatnot. So I literally wake up at 8 AM and at 9 AM flat, the stream is live, I'm queuing for ranked in champ elo, and I'm getting the bread. And it is literally wake up, in the shower, get in my chair, I'm tired, skip breakfast and join into ranked.
Wait, you don't have breakfast?
I'm not a breakfast person, especially when I have to work off the rip.
That is crazy.
Back in the day, I was definitely a bit more specific. Like I had to wake up, have an hour to myself, get some food, shower, or think about the game, or prep some stuff and whatnot. Now I'm a bit more, I think, just relaxed, you know, being a former pro player and now being retired. I care a lot less about the min-maxing. Yeah. I would change my mouse and keyboard every day, my sensitivity, my mouse pad. I'll try and optimize PC settings and all these small niche things to chase the level of perfection that you want as a pro player. The day I retired, I lost that element of myself because it's so tiring and you start overthinking, like you said. Is my sense wrong? Should I play 4-3 instead of 16/10? Everything becomes a possible problem in your mind.
I want to know, you guys in the chat, what is your game day ritual? Tell us, and we'll be back in just a moment to restart this game. Shout out to Hugo Penguin in chat for saying MF's yapping. That's literally what we're here for, my dude.
That's our job. We're doing our job.
Literally what we're here for, man. You see, the game had to stop for a brief moment. We had to have a little pause. But guess what, Pengu?
We're back.
We're back. We're back, baby, which means we don't have to yap. Actually, we still have to yap. You know, that's part of it. It's kind of, the game stops, the game starts.
Yapping.
We still have to yap. I have kept my eye on the chat to see if anyone has their game day rituals, but I got nothing.
They haven't gotten there yet.
Nothing?
No, they haven't gotten there yet.
Well, yeah, because of the delay on the stream, whatever. I'll keep my eye on it. My shout out for a game day ritual that I know from traditional sports, and I think I probably mentioned it before on the cast, so you're probably going to roll your eyes at me, Pengu, but Rafa Nadal, famous Spanish tennis player, and his classic little lining up his drink bottle and all his bags and everything, like, to the millimeter before he starts a game, and then before every single point, he does this little, adjusts his, like, shorts, adjusts his shirt, and, like, wipes his face, and it's just so funny because he just does it the exact same way every single point. And I love to see it. Very fond of it.
The little mental reset, you know, like this way. Again, if you can put yourself in a zone in a forced manner to like play at the highest level of your personal skill, like that's the key. Like the flow state is when that a lot of esports players they talk about, and it's when you reach this extreme high level of focus and concentration, and you're just flowing. If you can reach that state by forcing it, by doing certain specific niche things physically in real life, that's a cheat code. Because most people cannot reach flow state forced. It's something that just happens in certain moments. So if you have a small ritual that can like really kick up your performance, I mean, again, cheat code level.
Yeah, love it. Well, APL TAURI certainly need a cheat code right now to get themselves back into it. 2 more rounds to push overtime. But last round was actually very convincing for them on this attacking side. They picked apart Unreal Nightmare very early. I'm looking at K3. This guy's got to be careful. He's got to curb his aggression on this defensive side because, yes, it worked in 1 round. But aside from then, he's been picked off early. And Unreal Nightmare just need to play the percentages here.
Yeah, that was the last talking point before the rehost was Unreal Nightmare should play more passive on defense because APL TAURI, they're not your typical entry kind of players. They will watch angles, watch windows, cut off rotations, and if you run into the crosshair, you'll die. But look at the timer. Nobody's really in the, actually nobody's in the building on the attack from APL TAURI, and nobody's giving them an easy gunfight from the exterior. So, or from the interior, should I say. So, it's a stalemate. Nothing's happening, but guess what? Unreal Nightmare defending, they like that. They like that nothing's happening.
Out goes the E1D. That tells APL TAURI that it's time to go, and it tells Unreal Nightmare to prepare for the unexpected. Killer does jump into display. He gets taken down by Shaz, and Elamine, I believe, just saved him from the second player. What is that? An aggressive swing. The player on the window goes down. Shaz might be able to be re-peaked here by Hawks last, but look at the aggression from Shaz. He might have forfeited his position on the library stairs, but Sunstrike still has so much work to do. Oh, beautiful shot. 2v4. Not very likely, but achievable. Necessary here for APL TAURI, as it's now a 1v4. K3 finds his kill with a pistol. Hawks last in a world of pain. They're gonna go gunning for him. They're gonna run outside. They're gonna go big. Only 1 round left, and it's in the bag for Unreal Nightmare. Chalet is theirs, and we have to go the distance to Nighthaven Labs to settle the scoreline. The 3rd map's coming up after this break.
ตอนเล่น4แรกๆก็เอาจริงก็ไม่กล้ากดแรงเพราะว่าคือตอนที่เริ่มเล่นแบบว่าเล่นกับเพื่อนแบบมันเกมมันแบบดูเล่นยากมากเลยอะแบบว่ายังกลัวๆอยู่เนาะเราก็เล่นแคชชวลไปอยู่พักใหญ่ๆเลยจนอยู่จุดหนึ่งที่รู้สึกว่าแบบว่าแคชชวลไม่หนุกละอยากได้ความท้าทายเพิ่มเติมก็คือต้องไปกดแรงก็เลยเริ่มเล่นโซโล่ตั้งแต่นั้นมาเป็นช่วงผมจำซีซั่นไม่ได้แต่น่าจะก่อนเป็นซีซั่นก่อนวิจิลครับผมก่อน Operation Hell ด้วยน่าจะช่วงหลังน่าจะช่วงแจ็คเข้าเริ่มหยุดแคชชวลไปเล่นแรงเพราะว่าใช่ครับเริ่มเพื่อนๆเริ่มแบบว่าไม่ครบตีละเหลือคนนึงอยู่ที่อยู่กับผมประจำจะเป็นที่แบบบ่อยๆเลยนะก็เป็นมินครับผมส่วนผมน่าจะเป็นคู่กับมินซะส่วนใหญ่แล้วก็มาอยู่ตีนี้จะมีวันหนึ่งที่คนนี้ไปชวน PD Boom หรือว่า Producer Boom มาก็บูมเขาก็ทักอินบ็อกมาถามว่าสนใจแข่งอาร์ติกไหมเขาบอกว่าเขามีข่าววงในมาว่าแบบเดี๋ยวหลังจากนี้มันจะมีทัวร์เรนโบว์ซิกในไทยเนี่ยมันยังไม่มีแข่งที่เป็นแบบทัวร์ออฟฟิเชียลหรือว่าทัวร์ใหญ่ๆส่วนใหญ่มันเป็นทัวร์แบบว่าเล็กๆแบบว่าจัดกันเองอันนั้นก็เลยเป็นจุดต้องบอกว่าเป็นจุดเริ่มต้นแล้วกันผมว่าเราเริ่มเข้าสู่วงการแข่งเป็นหลักตั้งแต่ตอนนั้นเลยเพราะว่าบูมก็ถามขึ้นมาว่าแบบว่าอยากจะทำทีมแบบเอาที่1แบบว่าสนใจไหมผมก็แบบว่าสนใจแบบว่ามีคนมาชวนที่แบบว่ามีโปรไฟล์ดีขนาดนี้มาชวนเราก็ต้องไปอยู่แล้วตอนนั้นแหละครับผมที่เป็นจุดเปลี่ยนสำคัญที่ผมได้ตัดสินใจก้าวเข้าสู่การเป็นผู้เล่นระดับโปรเฟชชั่นอล
has got to offer.
So it's tied up, one map each in the series, and we go to Nighthaven Labs to settle it between HL TAURI and Unreal Nightmare. Look, let's be real, Pegu. Map 1, very close. Yeah. Map 2, Unreal Nightmare kind of ran away with it.
They did, and honestly, you know, on paper, it was kind of expected. I think the nature of the maps, Chalet and Nighthaven, are both going to play much more to Unreal Nightmares based on the HL TAURI's. But then because Cafe was such a good game from HL TAURI, I was like, you know what? I believe in them. I think they can win on Chalet too. But I was proven wrong. Unreal Nightmare, they figured out the pace, and they kept disrupting HL TAURI's plans, and then countered them on defense, just playing passive, letting that timer run low every single time at the end.
Yeah, of course, it does lead us to map 3. HL TAURI have a good chance here to come back on the third, but Unreal Nightmare are very much in control at the moment. As we head to Nighthaven Labs as our decider, it's an elimination game here in the lower bracket of the APL in the Asia region of Kickoff. Both of these teams trying to run the gauntlet all the way into that lower bracket final. Of course, 2 teams from this region will go and play at the Salt Lake City Major, which means that it's a fight for second place. And for these 2 teams that have come up through the Tier 2 circuit, through the Challenger Series, it is a huge task ahead of them, and it starts here on Nighthaven.
I would love a multi-ban here from Unreal Nightmare. Not in the first rotation, but in the second. The reason why I say not in the first, you don't want to show your hand when you're going for a counter pick, because then they can do a counter ban later on. For example, if they ban the multi round 1, maybe they ban a clash round 2, because then they can enable the other shield operators. But I'm curious if Unreal Nightmare feel the same way. The reason why I say it, Muncie was instrumental on Cafe, you know, how HL TAURI found a couple of their attacking victories. And while Nighthaven Labs is historically a good Muncie map, it is going to give this roster on the attack and start side a lot of stability. Muncie has survived the upper ban phase. It's going to be Grim and Ying, so much more focus on the late round execute, with the Electro Bros being banned from action in response.
Yeah, I like the Electro Bro ban, especially when you end up attacking basement. It's just so much easier to deal with. Not have to worry about bringing Thatcher, not having to bring EMPs. Frees up your lineup a lot, makes the battle less about breaching the wall and more about breaking into the site. However, the problem is then you have to deal with layers of the defense like the Azami. And I think the Azami is another one that might be a target of that operator ban, especially at the moment, you know, being defended by WAG on the Wamai. It's going to be hard to break through here for HL TAURI on the attacking side as we go to the top floor first up.
Now, Chalet plays out in a very similar matter where HL TAURI in defense, they have to be very good, sorry, on attack, let's start with attacks. They gotta be very good at getting the opening pick and getting map control. Because what they did on both Cafe and Chalet is when they're attacking, they're stalling out, holding angles, waiting for the enemy to make the first move. Defenders don't need to make the first move unless they feel pressured and forced into it. Unless they just simply get impatient and lose focus and then do it, of course. Which is a mistake. So, HL TAURI, they gotta work the breach, usually on the exterior. That can be on connector side, and of course IT. They gotta get in the building, try and fight for Tower Fastest control, and then they can hit the side after. So it's kind of important that if you divide the round up into 3 stages, you can say the first minute is gonna get the breach, the second is gonna be, of course, getting the crucial map control like Garage Catwalk, and the last minute is gonna be about the bomb site execute. So you can kind of use those like 3 minutes as like where they should be in the map. If they haven't gotten the breach in the first 60 seconds, they're officially behind the curve. They gotta make up that in the second step, and so on and so forth.
He gets breached. Ooh, that's a nicely placed Rotero from Flores. It's opened up quite a lot more flexibility attacking that Rafters position by taking both of those walls down. Looks like they are just behind your preferred timing here. That's now the second main wall open in just over a minute, but the real question here is how's Sunstrike going to go on the vert? Great pick on a Shadow. Couldn't ask for a better operator to take down than the Azami.
Yeah, and because of that, yeah, they're still breaching the wall, but they get 2 picks, they get Tower Control for free, they get the Punish Strike, the flank air jab is successful, they get the information downstairs. All of a sudden, they are beaming into that third step for execute, but they lose block below. Now they wait until they push.
Killer does trade, yeah. Nice, well played. He was constantly watching the flank. It doesn't matter that we lost the buck. He's done his job. And now there's just 2 players left on the defensive side. Really good round for HL TAURI so far. Can't afford to make any mistakes on the execute as they take control of Rafters and start to ramp up that pressure on the bomb side.
They've been so proactive. Walk downstairs with the Nomad, Capital flanking, watching the flank drones rather. Haven't even used their utility on Capital because they found the picks for free with their guns cutting off those angles. And they know right now, no Nightmare, they have to go for a desperate swing. So they're all just waiting and watching those angles together.
Nice. And they got the injure onto the Warden as well. And now another breach on the main wall. Plus now Hoxlas is rotating over to top blue. He's not even needed to get into the action because everyone from HL TAURI is gun up and ready to take fights with the final player. A great start, really convincing attack in the first round.
Yeah, it really is. And it also actually shows us that they can play very proactive, right? They were quick in the building. They got the airships down. They got the flank drones. They did the bulk vertical destruction. And they won the round by their own doings. So now when Nightmare is seeing this, they might go, okay, we can't treat this like Chalet Cafe, where we gotta sit back and just watch them not do anything, because they're actually playing the game quickly on the attacks now. So now it might be a matter of, let's disrupt them from getting their plan. That can mean burning utility or fighting for kills in map control, for example. On the basement, you can play the roam game pretty aggressively. They got Vigil Solace, that's probably what's going to happen. And then they defend the bomb site with utility, Mirror Window, Wheel Fire, Toxic Vapes, and Smoke. On that top floor bomb site, if we're to go back there later, you can then, if you're expecting a Bok or Deimos downstairs, you have a roaming presence downstairs below, and you're challenging them and taking away that win condition of the Bok verticality. So we gotta watch the next couple of rounds now if Unreal Nightmare are gonna fight for the map and disrupt HL TAURI, or if they're gonna try and play for letting them execute in that 5v5, which did not work in the first round.
Even just little details, like if it comes down to vertical fights from the buck again in a future round, I just think Unreal Nightmare is going to be more prepared to take those fights, right? Like, I think we're just behind the 8 ball the whole way through. Yeah, I don't think you can continue hammering away with the same thing, but that's been the story of today. Like, very different to playing ranked, right, Pengu? You know, a comp game goes for a lot longer than a ranked match.
Yeah,
and you have to be adaptable.
You don't just gotta attack a bomb site once and win it. You gotta do it twice, actually. So you do gotta have either a bulletproof singular way of attacking the bomb site, or ideally multiple ways, and you can just kind of pick and choose the best hits. A good bit of aggression in the window, again stopping people from entering and droning for free. And HL TAURI, they got a lot more map to clear, so it's gonna be a bit slower here early stage. So want to ensure that people they stay alive. But what are you gonna do? You can't Deimos track the Vigil. Solos can find all your drones and air jabs. Catching these two Romans in particular, very difficult. HL TAURI for this round probably wish they had a shield like a Blackbeard or Blitz or Monty. They can just sprint in the building and facing all the angles because they are running out of drones. They are limited in intel remaining.
Finally, we're getting a breach on the main walls. However, that mirror window might slow things down. There's still one exothermic in pocket. I'm interested to see that Chatterman hasn't actually decided to use it on that main double wall as of yet. Man, there's still so much roam game on this top floor, so far from the bomb site.
Doing a great job at holding on. They have no reason to fall back. They're not under pressure. You can bait the swing for K3, and yeah, the second swing comes through on the rotate. Beautifully played, and there's no trade. Yeah, they're getting a breach by the bomb site, but guys, there's a minute left in the round. You have no roaming presence, and you got these mirror windows, Goyo Fire, covering everything by the site. You gotta find an opening, or rather create one somewhere, but they keep losing individual battles. Big J, yes, he got a kill, but also injured on the ground.
Yeah, we need more verticality here from the attacking side to put the pressure on, because Shaz has now retaken that vert, used an impact to open lines of sight, looking down onto the breach below. And Shadow and K3 together all the way on that top floor roam, still protecting players like Shaz, watching the vert.
Bleeding.
Yeah, there really is not much to do here for HL TAURI. There's a huge list of items they need to check off, and no time to do it. 20 seconds, a smoke, and I mean, they're going to have to pivot, go through Exo instead. Killers tries to make that work. Chatterman is going to have to run straight through the fires and look for a kill on the bomb site. While Killer finds one, Chatterman sadly will not be able to join him in doing so. K3 vulnerable to the holes above him, and Killer will go down. It's a very open and shut case.
And this is exactly why I actually wanted to see a multi-ban in the Operator ban phase, because I feel like for these rounds, both of them for the first two ones, like Monty, obviously they won the first one pretty effortlessly because they got their picks, but Monty can just streamline all of the problems, right? Full info, roam clear, map control, heart destruction, perfect plant operator, etc. But you are a little bit less lethal when you play the shield because you're going to be extended and walking around. And Unreal Nightmare is seeing this struggle of the roam clear, and that means they're probably going to start fighting you more. Fighting more for catwalk. Like we said, fighting more for the locality downstairs if they think that's where the attacker's going to be coming from. And playing more trap operators perhaps too as the series progresses, because that can also help you in those gunfights. TAURI, they do have an advantage. This isn't a super big roamy map across the board. It's kind of just that basement bomb site where the roam goes crazy across all 3 floors. And then tertiary bomb site, you're playing obviously the site on the primary floor and then roaming top floor usually. So it does get easier now that basement is locked for the next coming rounds. And if they just keep winning top floor, for example, I mean, they're at least guaranteed 2 attacking rounds. And then we attack tertiary similar. So we could very easily see a 3-3 half for this one.
Magnets ready.
It depends.
It does depend, as most things do, but stylistically, I think it's the most likely scenario that we just see these teams go toe-to-toe based on different playstyles on the bomb sites.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if TAURI change much with the buck usage from below. Because I think if he just walks in, starts making vert again, he's going to be much more challenged, not just horizontally by roamers like Shaz, but also just the players that he's trying to fight. They will be shut down. They'll be watching back through that vert. Yeah, you can shoot the air jab. Of course, he exposed himself in doing so, so he has to take the gamble that there's no one watching.
Yeah, it's if you slow walk and lean, you can shoot the air jab on most always, unless it's position. Oh, you get into brow from above. That's perfect, actually. No shot needed.
Uh-oh.
That's genius.
That is really smart. Big J comes in to support. The Tubarão is such a cheeky way to counter that Nomad. I like the idea from TAURI there. With the Nomad to come and support the Buck, it means that Buck doesn't need an entire player to help him. But, I mean, obviously it's countered. Very well adapted by Unreal Nightmare.
It doesn't generate... if you're shooting something, like, oh, I heard somebody shoot a bullet, that could be a Claymore or an air jab in this case, but when a nuke camera being put down or 2-brow freeze, I mean, that's likely for the wall outside. You're not even going to think about that much usually. And that changed the entire win con. Now they're fighting for catwalk retake with disarm barriers to get a second kill. 10 of very low HP. He did take down K3 though, but still, Real Nightmare, significant map and player advantage.
Shadow's got a great position as well. DMR will
Yeah,
take down the keeper barrier, but
it.
yeah, if they haven't done the due diligence... Oh, the knife.
Ooh.
The knife bait here might actually work, but I think Shadow's just going to be patient. And I don't
heard
feel like
something.
Killers is going to bait... Oh, no, there you go. So that shot has now revealed his position. The fire is going to flush him out. Oh, but he still somehow sneaks in and finds a kill regardless before he's cleared out by Tenno. It's now a 2 versus 3, but he has to wait for the fire to subside. Eventually it does. Winnable here for TAURI.
It's winnable. They got 1 2-brow freeze and 1 C4. Those you can kind of stall things out. Tenno on a single point of health means you can't take any gunfights really. There is no spare reinforcements. This wall cannot be closed up. You'd have wished that if you were Unreal Nightmare, but it's fine. You still got that numbers advantage. A laser on the wall exposes one player position. That could be a crazy
Good
pre-fire.
flash. Oh, 4 flashes flood into the bomb site, but they need to capitalize on it. And now Shaz is unflashed. He's got a great close-range weapon for it, and he swings to find the second one. It's another great lock-in for Unreal Nightmare as their defensive adaptations managed to right the wrongs of that first top-floor defense, and they come back ever so stronger on the second attempt.
And it's exactly why we speak about not doing the exact same attack again and having a different win condition. Again, it's going to be the Buck going downstairs with the Nomad covering, and guess what? A single 2-barrel canister freezing the air jab to enable the flank to go through. It will just tear apart that attacking round because that's what they planned for. They needed that Buck to get some vertical value, and they got nothing. And then they double down, they Asami off the catwalk angle, and they retake that position, and they get a second kill later on. These very small moments is exactly how we see Nighthawk Labs played across all tier 1 level play. It's kind of Clubhouse where the map is quote-unquote so figured out that you need to win and lose rounds either in direct counterplay, in operator strategy, etc., or in those small moments. Like, if you're defending CCTV on Clubhouse, winning that Garrett's Catwalk Raptors gunfight and staying alive, that can win the entire site. Here, taking on the block below and then retaking Catwalk does the exact same thing. It's two very small moments in the game, but it can win or lose you the entire round.
It's funny, I have to wonder if how convincingly Buck won his situation in the first round with the Vert, finding 2 kills. How convincing that was gave him a little bit too much unwarranted confidence on the second attempts. Because he's thinking, well, I did it once, I can do it again. It worked out well, why don't I just do more or less the same thing? And he gets hard countered by 2 players working together. Really beautiful.
So this is where at the highest level you talk about what was the reason why that round was so flawless. You go, well, Buck was just massive downstairs. Then you go, okay, so that's why we were so strong. They might see it the same way, so they're going to try and counter Buck. How can they do that? Okay, let's try and cover Buck even more with more people, more manpower, more utility. And then the defenders go, well, actually, we didn't think it was Buck. We thought it was this instead. So then they don't do that, but they attack someone somewhere else. Like this constant back and forth minigame. Same with the Operator ban phase, right? They baited out a flawless drone ban. The first round after the final ban comes through, Monty, Solid Snake. Operators that we've not seen so far that are so powerful are now being bought out because they can't get target banned anymore.
Another thing to keep in mind is you actually kind of get more value out of that third ban in a way and what stays in, because obviously that's going to stay for the rest of this game. We've only played 3 rounds without it. We might end up playing potentially 5 rounds on this half, on this side, depending if we go to overtime. So you actually get more value out of that third ban than you would expect.
Yeah. To nobody's surprise, it's Cheno in the building, just again doing what he has to do. You might be thinking, why is he not moving further forward? They're actually clearing the floor beneath him at the same pace as above to ensure that there's no C4 downstairs. So this means that if he walks further and further and further and further and they're not following with the Solid Snake downstairs, he might just die to a Valkyrie C4 or Mute C4, and then the Monty's dead, and you don't lose the round, but it certainly damages the round significantly. So they can't really overstep their boundary. That plus he's currently flank watching while they're sitting up downstairs. So again, here's TAURI. They do a very good job playing that kind of slow, calm play style. And then Monty sends it into Asami. Big J goes down on Aqua side. And the C4 hits its mark, not on the Monty, but onto the Thermite.
Yellow going down, though, does give that Thermite a little bit more safety. However, Thermite gets flanked. Needs to be a trade here, and Shaz will go down. Good play from Hoxlast. And that top floor has now been taken. Worried about a flank, though. Shadow is revealed. Sunstrike getting maximum usage out of that Solid Snake. If he hadn't used that, maybe he would have gotten flanked. Shadow now forced to move and support WAG on the bomb site. 20 seconds to play, though. Does give an advantage over to Unreal Nightmare. TAURI have to pivot as quickly as they possibly can. They're trying to desperately find these kills so that they can open the gates for Hoxlast to get in the site with the diffuser, but the diffuser goes down. They still haven't finished off WAG, and now Sunstrike is the last one left. 1v1, concussed by the Ella, and he doesn't know where WAG is in this room. Shotty up close, and Unreal Nightmare lock in another defense, making it 3 in a row.
Again, it's the small things, teams. Every single time, the flank watch is good, the injury is good, the Monty is good, the verticality was excellent. But they can't find the player downstairs running back and forth on the verticality. They even did a bit of damage. They saw him close by the window, and then the big bait moment happens. The Ram on the vert is saying, oh, he's on yellow ping, he's on his box, jump in and kill him. But the issue is, the person in the verticality, that Ram operator, can't actually see or connect like the crossfire because he's hiding behind the box, leveraging the bomb site. So Lion jumps into not a fair fight, right? You're a hip fight with a DMR, he's shotgun watching the window, you die for nothing. It's those, again, very small things for TAURI to do the right thing, but just a very, very, very minor small missing. It is the coordination that syncing on the play and clearing off all the vert angles before going for the bomb site window. Skipping one small step. Huge cost in the round. They did so many things right, and they got to the finish line, but they couldn't cross it. That's gonna mean bomb site rotation reset, right? Now they go back to basement, where they had that previous roam game with the mirror windows and the operators that got banned away. I mean, Vigil does impact the roam, of course, but you can still do it. You still got the mirror for the bomb side. I know Goyo isn't being played right now, but that could also be the case. Instead, they got Legion for the window jump-ins. That means that they still gotta worry about the roam clear, which has been their biggest obstacle so far. And there is no shield, there is no Deimos. It's just that Solid Snake.
Sensor on. Searching for electronics.
One thing I hadn't really thought about, but I guess you can probably see the Solid Snake gadget on the Solus if you're close to it. There's
Yeah,
an idea
he
for you.
takes it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that would be the case.
I like the ram counter here, just trying to keep Killer at bay by shooting that boogie drone.
I mean, the Bandit and Kaiban has been doing God's work, man. These walls are getting popped so fast every single round, and that really speeds things up. Solid Snake also finding 2 roamers already. One downstairs, one upstairs, so they can start slowly making their way through the building. But who's gonna take the gunfight? Your only Heart Breacher? Your only roam clearer? The Dokkaebi Global Gadget? Your only vertical operator? It really feels like no matter who's gonna take a gunfight on the attack, if they lose the gunfight, it's a significant loss to the roster. They need all these gadgets later on.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think the ram is so important here. One of, if not the most important operator. We need an entry here, particularly from Sunstrike. But no, he falls. Tries to take a long-range gunfight, and Shadow has a superior angle. Even the F2 won't win that. K3 trying to peel back as the flank is being watched by Tenno, and he finds one. Shaz tries to retreat back and falls. Unreal Nightmare still have a bit of a roam game. Shadow all the way on the top floor, Big J and K3 on the ground floor. It's only WAG on the bomb site. TAURI, they need to be quicker at realizing maybe we have a gap that we could push on site, because it's technically a 4v1 on the bomb site.
That's just not their play style. That's the issue, right? They go for the most vertical play. That's an aggressive play. Those Shadow runs out of our door to contest the person, cutting off the rotations by the staircase, allowing people to fall back towards the side, and they need that because here comes Enemy's Breach on that single wall. This could mean Shadowman could walk on in and start pressuring the side. There's only one mirror window to cover the angles, as the other mirror was on the outside wall itself. They spend the final Dokkaebi call, no more intel, no drones, and the flank very much still going on.
This is going to be nigh impossible now for TAURI. They'll have to go big. They'll have to be miraculous. K3 dodges some flashes. Another one goes out. Tenno the first to enter. He falls. K3 waits for the second one, and he can't find that fight. Hoxlust opens up the gates on the bomb site. Chatterman as well to find his. Shadow now forced into his flank, and he's the last one standing. A 1v3, he doesn't know where that plant's going down. Big final kill for Hoxlust, and TAURI steal a round they had no business winning.
Again, it comes down to a single gunfight in EXO. If Nomad walks on the staircase and wins the fight, they can then get bomb site control, Shadowman can walk in, and the third player is actually on the verticality still up above. That was 2 people fighting 3 or 4, 4 defenders with just 2 attackers, because Dokkaebi died right here. So it's Nomad walking in, Shadowman on the breach, and then you have Killer upstairs, literally in storage. If either of those 2 players downstairs don't win their gunfights, they can't go for a plant. TAURI on Cafe, and also here now on Night Even Labs, when they are pushed to their very limits, where the sensible play no longer works and you have to go for broke, they actually do it, and quite successfully. So that just goes to show there is a world where they can adopt a playstyle that is about taking a few more risks, where it's about playing a bit more chaotic in the server, because they can do it, but it's not by choice. It's only when they're forced into that playstyle by their opponent.
That's right. It reeks of desperation, right? And look, I don't want to question the
completely.
results, but even minor details, like I wonder what that round would have looked like if there was a little bit more perceived pressure on Unreal Nightmare, just simply by Chatterman breaching all of the walls right at the start of the round. The Animus wall only breached with 35 seconds left. This could be a freebie. The red ping comes out. A little bit of damage from Shadow into Hoxlast, but he survives it. But just to reiterate on that point, I really feel like with the Bandit Kaid ban, you just got to take advantage of the speed at which you can breach. Thermite has 3 exothermic charges. Start of the round, you go upstairs, you breach the IT wall to help your roamers with your entries with the roam clear. You go downstairs, you breach the double wall on site, and you breach the Animus wall. And then you're a gun for hire. Then you could even be an entry if you needed to be.
Yeah.
It just gives you so much flexibility.
Agree. I feel like maybe it's Cobium, but maybe like a train of thought they're having is, okay, we don't know if we want to breach the hatches, if we get the full roam clear control, or get both the walls. So maybe they were waiting for that, you know, can we get the roam clear kind of call? But at the same time, you just play a set of can openers, secondary hot breach destruction. Because then Thermite can, as you said, always get the wall upstairs and downstairs, and then the other operator gets the hatches. This is a bit of an oopsie. K3 ratting by the breach in the boost spot. Swings, gets the kill. Tenno, who is very low HP in the 0, does go down. But that is so much active flank watch and intel that is now lost in the 0 cams, no longer being usable. Hit the Capital. They can still fight for Raptor's control, but what's missing from TAURI is again presence inside the building. Hello.
No way! As if he gets away with a kill there. Killer probably should have taken him down. Oh, man, if you are Sunstrike, you're going to be so tilted knowing that you just died to a player that was literally touching toes with Killer just on the other side of a wall. Now, 3 versus 4 for HL TAURI as they stare down what could potentially be a 2-4 half on their attacking side.
Keeps falling apart further. 2v4. Killer low on health. Hawks low on health. Hawks does get the kill to Shaz.
It's worth it
Still
for
down a
Shaz.
player. And again, this timer, we keep mentioning, it's taking down very quickly. 45 seconds. Lost most of their pushing power. You have Capital Fire and a single of flash bang to their name. And Unreal Nightmare are playing smart. They're just playing by the bomb site. All 3 people squared up in close proximity, playing the trade game.
Last round, it was Hawks going big on that entry down below that netted HL TAURI the unwinnable round. He's still alive, and he's got that diffuser. He needs to have a big impact again, but him and Killer both low on HP. There's less than 20 seconds to play. K3, shotgun in hand. As the smoke goes out, a flash as well. He can peek into that if he wants. Doesn't need to waste time, and Hawks will go down. And Killer not far behind him. Unreal Nightmare with an unreal half. It's a 4-2 split on their defense. HL TAURI need all the vibes they can get now. And the halftime vibe check to come back in the second. I'd like to start a petition. Can we just keep the music going for the
Keep
whole
it.
broadcast?
Keep it. Don't stop it.
Don't stop it. Keep the vibes.
It would be fitting, like, it kicks in at the last, like, 45 seconds of a round, right?
Yeah.
It's just, like, it just quietly tunes up, do-do-do-do-do-do, and it just, at the apex of the round, the peak moment
Yes.
is when it gets the loudest.
And it just starts with, like, you know, like that kick drum going goof, goof, goof,
Yeah.
goof, and then slowly everything builds up, and then you get the massive 1v3, and it just goes full montage moment. And then we go into replays, and it's just like, oh
And then the
my
casters
God.
shut up and just listen to it after the kill happens, right?
Absolutely.
That's the best part, when they stop talking. Like,
Oh,
it's,
man.
I love when music builds. Like, you know, we're in the, you know, the age that we are, but like, I'm getting older. Classical music goes harder and harder.
It does,
When you
bro.
get like the build up of different instruments and like violins and cellos and all this thing, I love it. I love it so much.
That's my old man caster duo right there.
Yeah. And growing up, I was like, classical music? I'm not from the 1600s. Why would I care? But now,
I have a fun bit of lore for you. I actually, when I was a kid, I learned how to play violin.
oh,
Yeah, I'm
you're a
terrible at
snob.
it. I quit. No. No, my
I
parents.
wish.
I was like, I want to learn an instrument. My parents were like, violin, and I was like, why? But I learned the violin for a few years, but I learned like the Irish jig style violin, like that, not like classical violin.
Like faster pay, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Interesting.
like folk music type thing. But yeah, look, I kind of hated it, and I quit, and then I switched to easy instruments.
I wanted to learn piano and or violin growing up, but I was too shy to perform in front of others. And in school, that's where you would learn an instrument, at least where I grew up, because you wouldn't buy one yourself because it's expensive or not in lessons. So I just looked at it and been like, oh, I wish I had the balls to play the piano right now, but I don't. So I never tried.
Just gotta do it, man.
So at least you tried and you figured out that wasn't for you. That's good.
Next time you move apartments or new houses and you get space, you're gonna get yourself a piano, my friend.
I'm gonna
what's
get
gonna
a
happen.
whole like a rock band garage or something, dude. You can
Yeah,
fly
mate.
up
Get on it.
from down under,
Get on it,
get in
mate.
the guitar.
Absolutely.
We can vibe it out. We saw a bit of a vibe out there on the beach as well. Sunstrike trying to kite trick by throwing one kite on one side and then picking up, throwing it down again. But they're playing Thatcher, the #1 kite counter, so they double.
hello.
hit. Oh, the vault! Ah!
Savable.
That's
Oh,
awkward.
no, Nate is gonna
No,
cook him
no,
here.
he's gone. He's gone.
Rip the homie right there.
07. 07.
Yeah, that's rough for Killer. However, it's worth it because Sunstrike has managed to tap Shaz, and look, Blackbeard for a mute. That's worth it every day of the week.
Yeah, they'll take it. They also just reinforced the catwalk wall I heard behind them, so they have closed off one of the flank potentials. I like this. When you lose a defender early, you can reinforce either catwalk or where the mute died on connector, and then therefore get one less angle to worry about and establish more crossfires. The downside is, if Unreal Nightmare recognize that they did it, they can take catwalk absolutely for free now. Thermite open the wall, and then we're back to them having more angles to fight. So that would be the correct counter response, I would say, here for Unreal Nightmare. They still have an EMP in pocket, still got extra thermite charge and thermite. They could get tricked by Sunstrike if he's really quick with the Kite Claw, because there's only one EMP, not two left remaining. Oh, they popped this one instead. Okay, so they're gonna go for Pillar Plant. This shows their hand. Now they can count the thermal charges. That is the last one. They have to commit to IT Breach with Connector Breach.
And the big priority here is taking out Hoxlast.
big
Great work with the Bailiff up in close range. They go deep now. Big C4 though from
Oi.
Sunstrike. Wag is down and out of it. Sunstrike trying to hold down the fort, allowing time for Chatterman to rotate back, but he's not needed. Big plays from Sunstrike. He strikes them down one by one. And TAURI have a fire beneath them again.
So good. Again, the different win conditions. The Warden behind the shield, that is a huge anchor on the bomb side. And yes, he did get taken down by the Grim just running in, secondary Bailiff pistol, and won the gunfight. But then they have layers to this defense, right? They got a vertical C4 for plant denial, and they have Sunstrike, who has a spare C4. It was Sunstrike C4 from the bomb side with the play below flanking, actually. Never mind. So Sunstrike was the one-man army. He was
man.
the win con. I thought it was one player C4ing and Sunstrike taking both the gunfights, but he literally did everything himself with the Fenrir flanking. And Sunstrike has been probably the most vital player for Hazel TAURI, except when Tenno plays Monty on the shields on Cafe. He was shooting Shanka on Chalet. They did lose the round where he was clutching up massively, but he was landing 3-4 kills and locking things down. Sunstrike has been my MVP so far in this game, that's for damn sure, from the side of Hazel TAURI. He's been instrumental in so many round
10
victories.
seconds remaining.
It was a 4K that round as well. Big plays.
Oh, yeah.
5 seconds
Big
left.
plays on the bomb site from the Qaid. Now, Unreal Nightmare have
Attacker's objective is to
a
locate a
couple
bomb
more
and
chances, though, on the attacking side. It's just the first attempt. But, of course, they'll have to wait a few rounds to get another crack at the top floor. Now we go down to the basement. And the first question, whenever you have a basement defense, is do we roam or do we turtle? And, I mean, on this map, you're always going to have some form of a roam. It, though, is a little bit different to what we saw from Unreal Nightmare on their defense. For example, Tenno on the Scopos, very unusual pick.
I'm a huge fan. It's that classic, I can overcommit, I can overstay, and I will still TP out and waste as much time as possible, where these other roaming operators, like the Solace, like the Mossy, need to fall back before those staircases get caught off guard from the exterior. Otherwise, you gotta take an uncomfortable gunfight. Speaking of the Solace, Chattlement goes down to the bug of Big J. They got Blackbeard injury into IT. So very quickly, when one roamer dies and Dokkaebi goes out, it might just be time to surrender the entire roam right now, because you do not want to stick around for this one.
Yeah, it's scary. Scopos also has to deal with that massive watermark on their screen whenever the Dokkaebi call comes out. It's not fun. It does really obscure your vision a lot. He actually is tempted to continue playing. Of course, he can always teleport back to site, so he can go aggressively to a kitchen position, somewhere where he might not have a pathway back to site. And now that it's the smoke of Hawks that's getting targeted, it does give Tenno a little bit more flexibility to keep playing. He's now gone all the way back upstairs, up through the lobby stairs, now into connector. So he has a big flank opportunity. He's directly above a lot of these attackers, and he might be able to turn the tide of this round single-handedly.
Yeah, and it's actually thanks to Hoglast right now, just buying time, not falling fully back on that cargo staircase. That's giving Tenno an opportunity to go for that flank timing. Had Smoke just fallen back, all of a sudden this flank has to either sprint into action to get heard, or simply just wait even longer. So he's in a good little middle ground. Smoke has now been forced back. There's going to be Hawks with no toxic babes and half health on the Smoke. It kind of comes down now to Killer and Tenno flanking together. From top floor all the way to basement, finds kill through the hatch.
Wow, and Killers uses C4 to make a rotate, and he's found one as well. Baited by the teammate, now it's up to Unreal Nightmare to get in the bomb site, try and force the issue, knowing that there are roamers up above. But Strike on the bomb site keeps him at bay for a brief moment. Shaz goes big with the double on the Blackbeard. Time to deny the plant now for Killer, or to go bust. He's got the secondary shotgun, so he can find the vert. There's clear information on the bomb site as well. The Blackbeard has the diffuser, which means he can try to turtle plant, but K3 will need to cover. And you're right, now the camera is gone. He's going to have to use his audio to try and find this kill through the vert, or make a big risk and try and rotate down below. But here at the tank, it's quite hard for him to find an angle. He looks to rotate, doesn't have a lot of bullets in the magazine, and if he drops now, he is surely vulnerable. Spots out the Blackbeard for a brief moment. How on earth do you win the fight against the Blackbeard in close range? Bit of damage, not enough done yet. And a big play from Shaz. 3 kills with the Blackbeard and the plant down. Unreal Nightmare rocketing up again and closer to finishing this game.
Again, Hazel TAURI playing it so well and getting so far in the round. I mean, they get the good flank timing, the C4 with the verticality, they find the planter right now, shoot whack. Bump almost goes down, but they find the angle vertically. But then it's just Shaz and the Blackbeard, finding one, finding two, finding the vert, destroying the bulletproof camera to shroud the bombs into darkness again, and then go for a plant in an unknown location. It's one player just going huge for Unreal Nightmare, with Hazel TAURI actually playing the better team game, with so many good win conditions, good timings. Such a shame that you lose that round, but it goes to show clutch ability will always win in the end. And that was Shaz, dude. What a Blackbeard round.
One of the better rounds we've seen so far, in my opinion. I really like that. Can I just shout out, look at the top left of the screen right now. See, we've got this beautiful little update, thanks to our amazing production team, where it shows you every single kill that happened in the round and every plant, every activity. that happen in the rounds. It's like a little kind of like a kill feed, basically, that
Yeah.
kind of runs through, and it'll happen after every round ends. You'll be able to see that at the top left hand of the screen. It's so cool. You can see, like, you know, most plants. Chaz, we get a little bit of insight into what happened. We'll see the clutches, we'll see the stats, and you'll get to see a little replay of the kill feed. Only happens on the bestest of rounds, but it's just a cool little thing that I've noticed a few times now.
I don't know if you saw it, but when it was showing the kill feed, so to speak, the beginning of the stats there, it was like 0.41 a kill, 0.38 a kill, 0.35 a kill. It was like 5 seconds of 3 or 4 kills happened that previous round.
Oh, wow, here's an aggressive play from Tenno. Oh, no! He attempted bait, but funnily enough, the Blackbeard going inside the building detonated the Thorn Trap, which then killed Tenno. I don't think he's savable here, so funnily enough, the Blackbeard might not know it, but he actually has just traded himself back, and it's also baited out another kill for WAG. It's funny how Unreal Nightmare have managed to turn losing the Blackbeard on its head and into a massive advantage. Killer in a 1v4, they know exactly where he is. Nice shot though. And that's a diffuser, cold on the ground as well. This is clutchable.
Ooh. It is clutchable. No C4 though. Has information in storage below, and the Garage default cam is still alive in watch from Tenno, so they have information of the half of top floor. But what about IT breach? That they do not know if it's clear or not.
I like this little angle though. Feed holes. He wants to take the 1v1, but
Oh.
K3 finds the better of him. Unreal Nightmare, step by step on their attack. They carve the path onto match point.
I mean, what a round. Again, like you said, you take down the Blackbeard successfully as a Sami. You trade injure for kill. Again, super worth it. And then everyone dies around the play. Nomad swings in Garage, gets a kill, confirms the Asami. Kills happens off screen. And it went from a 4v4 to a 4v1 within a couple of seconds. Such an explosive one. And I really want to praise TAURI as the losing team right now. They are trying to match Unreal Nightmare in the aggression and in the proactivity or proactive playstyle. And that is something that we haven't seen from them on Cafe. We didn't see it much on Chalet, and we didn't see it at all last week against Elevate. This is definitely going to be adjustments and, you know, them learning from their past mistakes. And while they are losing this round, they are trying to do the right thing. So I think there's big praise for TAURI showing significant improvement from last week to this one.
Three match points. I'm getting flashbacks, Pengu.
Yeah.
Flashbacks to Chalet. We found ourselves in this exact same position. Gotta say, TAURI, they have impressed me. Continue to impress me more and more as the series progresses. Cafe, especially the end of Cafe, was very good. They staved off 2 match points. They only staved off 1 match point on Chalet. Now they're going to have to do 3 to stay in the tournament. Otherwise, it's goodbye, good night, and time to pack it up and figure out what to do. You'll have quite a bit of a break, actually, Pengu. I mean, this is the thing about the format here in APL, is we start eliminating teams and qualifying teams to the major much earlier than the other regions because we only have the playoffs. We have no group stage. For TAURI, that means quite a long break. I don't know, like, when's the next time they'll have a chance to play? I think June, perhaps,
Stage
when
one?
Stage
June,
1
yeah.
starts. Yeah, means that it's a very big break. Wow, this is one way to juggle the Kayuk clause.
Yeah. It's really effective against EMPs, especially if you're not using Thatcher, because you're only going to see one wall being tricked, and then you're going to EMP the right-hand side, but then a second later, the left-hand side gets electrified. But then because it's actually picking them up again, you can keep applying it. Because when you EMP a gadget, if you pick it up, put it down, it gets un-EMP'd. Sunstrike has fallen off the ankle, though. Double EMP spanned away. That means the wall will get opened up successfully. Unironically, had he actually stuck around and kept tricking the wall like he was, he probably would have stopped the thermite charge. Obviously, he doesn't know that. Doesn't want to risk dying to an IQ below, which there was, so he made the right play for sure.
Still has 1 left in pocket. Interestingly, he didn't decide to rotate it over. There was no EMPs left, so that would have burnt quite a bit of time. Perhaps he can use it on the bomb site to prevent an execute.
Internal walls.
But at the moment, they got to worry about Shaz. He's snuck in deep. Interesting that instead of feet holes here, it's actually like a large breach, crashable breach. Big C4 gets shot. Chaz, though, flanked from behind. Brief moment there, Chatterman had an opening. This is very hard, though, for Shaz to get up nice, close, and personal because of this crossfire.
Very awkward positioning. If they find Tenno on the Asami or find the Kaid or Sunstrike, all of a sudden the bomb site's wide open for the taking of the Blitz. Downstairs, he finds a guy on drones. That's a freebie.
This is a big chance now for Unreal Nightmare to put this game to bed.
Oh,
The
it's
blitz
over.
in the bomb site. Killer is forced back deeper and deeper. Wag forcing that plant down. The crossfire is perfect. Hawks last. The last one alive in a 1v5. Hiding behind the shield. Tail between his legs. The blitz goes down. A second one as well. But he's still taking damage from below. The player underneath him, Shadow, hiding in the shadows, continues to put the pressure on from the vert. Another one goes down into the 1v2. Hold the phone, because this just got winnable. Wag deep in the bomb site. He's already planted. Big J inside of servers as well. Both of them together, and they team up to finish off the series. Unreal Nightmare will survive another match in this lower bracket, and HL TAURI will say goodnight.